Welcome back. We're back here for episode 2 of the Red Zone Rundown YouTube channel here, guys. We're going to get it started here. We're going to call it the Rundown. We're going to recap last week's games. First off, we're going to tell you how we did on our picks against the spread. Last week, I went 8-7. A couple games cost me a little bit here. The Colts game mainly, that late score.
Yep.
Judge, you went there 6-9 last week. A little rough week for you.
Favorite number, favorite position.
That is true. That is a good number, good
Yep.
combination there. But not what you like to see in the bettings.
Yeah, no, definitely not good. Definitely not good. That's why I don't gamble.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So first off, obviously we're going to start off with the big game last week, the Cowboys-Lions game, and obviously the call. What are your thoughts there on the call itself? Right call, wrong call.
Did he report?
There's video of him talking to the ref. Did he report?
Looked like he reported to me.
It looks like a whole lot of people reported though. They did have 3 or 4 guys go over to the ref, playing a game.
Skipper was over there too.
Yeah. I don't think it was a legal play anyway. I do think it was an illegal formation there.
Yeah.
Tough break though.
It is a tough break. At the end of the day though, the NFL is not all settled on one play.
True.
They had a couple times to win it down there and just didn't happen.
Yeah, the ball's on Dan Campbell there though. After the first one didn't work. All right, going for it. After taking a penalty, it's a big call. And then the third time, you get a third shot at that. At that point, Dan, I think we're kicking the extra point, going to overtime. The defense had played well. I love Dan, but I do think you get 3 shots at it there. One of those, just kick it.
Yeah, I think his balls were a little too big this weekend. He's probably the one who goes for it the most, but in that situation, after the second time, it's probably take the points and just go.
Yeah,
I don't know what he was trying to do there, but
I mean, I love the aggressive play.
Yeah.
I love the aggressive play, playing to win the game for sure. Yeah, 3 times on a 2-point conversion play, that's a lot to ask. You only got so many of your A1 plays there. Probably should have kicked that one. Looking back on it, the defense played well in that game.
Yep. And shout out to Dallas' defense. Dallas' defense played pretty good.
Yeah, just to highlight on that, obviously Jared Goff threw 2 picks in that game. They were costly interception. They held Jahmyr Gibbs at 2.9 yards a carry.
Yep.
So he definitely kept him under.
Great week for have him in my fantasy team in the championships.
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, we'll save that for later in the show. But I got absolutely hammered, and I don't get to take this trophy home with me. So Jahmyr Gibbs was one of them. Losing Keenan Allen this week and having to start old Quentin Johnston out of TCU didn't really help me either.
It's had a rough year, up and down year.
Definitely had a rough year. Can't catch a cold in the winter. So.
But then you look at the Dallas side of that too. I mean, obviously, Dak had 345 yards and 2 touchdowns. He played well. CD obviously had a monster game. Had 13 catches for 227 and a tud.
CD's playing like one of the best receivers in the league this year.
CD is one of the best receivers in the league. I think
I think he's definitely been a little kind of underrated coming into this season. I think he's definitely shown that he's a top receiver in the league.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's definitely legit.
Yeah. And then considering where he was drafted, we like to talk about the draft a lot on this channel, but considering where he was drafted, it was definitely a good pick. So you figure a couple receivers taken before him, one who's currently in jail, and another one who just can't seem to get anything going, and Jerry Jeudy. So
that is true. So, it's hard to see with Henry Ruggs. That guy had all the talent in the world, and threw it away in one bad mistake. But I do want to give a little shout out to the Lions defense there. Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks in that game, 4 tackles for losses. He was a monster.
He's good at football.
He's pretty good.
He is really good at football. The kid has a motor that is just unmatched.
It is.
There's you just watch him he flies the ball, and he tries every play. It reminds me a lot of like a TJ Watt or like a younger JJ Watt. Just the motor he plays with is just unmatched. He doesn't take plays off. No. He's very good at football.
Yeah, he's definitely him. That's for sure. They held Tony Pollard to 3.1 yards carry too, and he touched the ball quite a few times. So it's a pretty good mark there for them. So the defense played absolutely outstanding in that game. Yep. Just unfortunately couldn't come away with
Rico Dowdle being hurt. We got to see a little bit of Deuce Vaughn too.
Yeah,
I think he had one yard.
It wasn't many.
I think he had
Wasn't
1
many.
yard. His line this weekend, I was scrolling through and saw a couple things. His line was over under 9.5 yards. Thought that would easily he would have got it, but 1 yard was at least he got to play.
Yeah.
Not many 5'5" running backs in the league.
He still returns for them too, doesn't he?
What's that?
He returns for them too, right?
Deuce Vaughn?
Yeah.
He's a rookie.
Yeah, he's a kick returner for them.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I think Cavante Turbin gets the punts and he receives most of the kickoffs. And as far as the kickoff, I mean, not a whole lot of people get the return kicks nowadays anyway.
That barely ever happens anymore.
Yeah, the play they're trying to eliminate from football.
Yeah, they gotta do away with that fair catch shit on that too. That's god awful. I'm definitely with Pat McAfee on that. It is not football. That is fake football. We gotta fix that.
Yep.
But yeah, Cowboys Lions. Obviously, that game was a close game. Big game there. Could see that one later in the season as well.
Yeah.
Next, moving on to the other big game last week. The Dolphins versus the Ravens there.
Yeah. That was not the way I thought it was going to play.
That is the way I thought it was going to be.
I didn't think it'd be a blowout. I mean,
I didn't think it was a blowout.
I think I picked the Dolphins.
You did.
But it's I thought if the Dolphins were gonna win, it was gonna be a close game. I thought if the Ravens were gonna win, it's gonna be a close game. I didn't see the 56-19 score coming.
Yeah, I didn't see 56-19, but I did see the Ravens handle on that one. But
yeah. Shout out to Melvin Gordon scoring a touchdown.
Melvin Gordon looked good.
Yeah,
and he looked like old Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
He ran hard in that game.
He didn't play like that in Denver. Well, half the time he couldn't hold on to the ball, so we never got to see it anyway.
That was some vintage Charger Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. Melvin Gordon looked very, very good. Speaking of the Ravens, and while we're on the topic of backup running backs, we just got some breaking news here a little bit ago with Mr. Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook
joining the Ravens.
He cleared waivers and is joining in the Ravens.
So where's he fall there? Does he start after the bye? I mean, you figure he's not going to play this week coming up. First game's probably going to be divisional rounds. So do you see him getting the start?
I don't know if he starts.
Gus Edwards play good enough to...
Yeah, I think Gus Edwards is still their starter there. But I definitely think he adds an element that they don't have currently, especially with J.K. being...
And Justin Hill's
hurt.
Justin Hill's proven to be a very good receiving back.
Yeah, I mean Cook can play that role as well. So I think it's a good sign.
Justin Hill had a nice day receiving on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, got Justin Hill. I mean, Keaton Mitchell being out was kind of hurt them for a little bit because of his speed and everything.
I mean, you say that too, but they had 160 yards rushing last week.
Yeah.
No, as a team, I mean they played well.
They're definitely adding to a already good room, and I mean they run block very, very well.
They do.
Their offensive line run blocks very well.
And the threat of Lamar is just an added element. It just makes that hard to defend because you can't crash down because you got to respect the read option.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lamar had a perfect passer rating this week. Everybody kind of gets on him that he can't throw the ball, but he threw more touchdowns than incompletions this week. So.
Oh, I mean, when you can run the ball as good as they do, it opens up other things, and
it does.
As long as he can be accurate and he can get the ball out, the Ravens are going to be hard to beat.
The Ravens are good.
Are going to be very.
They're legit. They're definitely legit. I mean, obviously, Tua was 18-21 for 321, 5 touchdowns. Yeah. Probably locked the MVP up.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else winning. I mean, the league's already proven they're not gonna give it to a non-quarterback, especially this year. I mean, the season's McCaffrey and Hill put together, and if they're not going to give it to one of those guys, I think we all agree the MVP might as well just be called the most valuable quarterback award.
Yeah, it's definitely just a quarterback award. It seems like these days.
Yeah, and I think if we're calling it the most valuable quarterback award, I don't think anybody else is going to get it. He's definitely locked that one up.
I would agree, especially with his play late. He kind of definitely earned that money in money time for sure.
5 weeks ago, probably Brock Purdy. I don't know if you saw the guy. I saw this last week at some time, but I don't know if you saw the guy that I think it was $2,000 he put down at the beginning of the season for Brock Purdy to win the MVP, and the ticket would have paid $202,000. And I don't know if you heard this. You heard the story at all? He no longer owns that ticket. He sold that ticket on PropSwap for $100,000.
That's a smart bet.
I want to meet that man and shake his hand for selling that ticket.
Was that pre or post the big pick game?
This was a couple weeks ago, I believe, when Brock Purdy was like -150 to win.
So it's probably pre the 3 or 4 interception game he had there. And
I believe
it
was. I saw it a couple of times. I didn't see exactly when it was sold, but I think Brock Purdy was either minus 150 or plus 105. I think to win. So I mean, it was pretty much almost even money.
Definitely,
he was the odds-on favorite to win it when he sold it. So shout out to that guy for turning $2,000 into $100,000.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
would have took the damn thing in a heartbeat, even if he
absolutely.
even if he was the favorite and still was the favorite. I'd still take the easy $100,000.
Sure, money is tough to pass down for sure.
Absolutely.
But on the Dolphin side, there, get back to the game here. Tua throws 2 picks in that game. Yeah, kind of questionable on both of the picks. Shane played well though. I mean, he went for 107, 7.6 a carry.
Yep.
Probably should have gave him the ball a little bit more.
Yep. When Mostert's not out, Shane can definitely show what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, AJ can definitely show what he does. I mean, he's very dynamic, but
he's fast.
Raheem Mostert's like father time. Like,
yeah, he's definitely getting better.
He's getting better every year. Every year he plays, he looks like he gets better.
He definitely benefits by all the speed that's on that team because it is tough.
Yep.
It is tough to defend that team with all that speed.
It is.
They did a pretty solid job on Tyreek Hill. I mean, he had 76 yards. So that's a solid day. But you'll take that if you're going against.
Yeah, Hill. The Ravens defense. I mean, they're a top defense in the league, and when you're playing against a guy like Tyreek Hill, I mean, he's very hard to guard. There's not many corners in the league. There's not many corners in the league that can guard him. There's not a lot of many of defensive coordinators that can plan for a guy like that.
Yeah, speed kills. So, it does help with Waddle not playing in that game to try to take him away a little bit.
You got to focus on him a little bit more.
Yeah. My biggest question, I guess, from that game, why is Bradley Chubb on the field in a blowout with less than 2 minutes to go in the game, and then you end up losing a guy for the season?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a massive loss.
That's my heart goes out to Bradley Chubb. I definitely liked him with his years in Denver. He's always a good player. He on his second ACL tear now, I believe his second one. He tore his other one before.
Yeah, I believe so.
It just you hate to see that, especially when Jalen Phillips is already down with his Achilles in the beginning of the season, and the Miami has the in-season Hard Knocks, and I saw the videos of the reaction on the field when that was happening. It sucks for the team, it sucks for the player, and I mean it's going to hurt them on defense. Vic Fangio is going to have to figure something out because he's having a breakout year. Like he got his contract after he was traded from Denver. It was kind of questionable if he deserved that contract because he hadn't really done much on the field, but the talent is 100% there. So he's having a great season. He's having his best season as a pro, and it sucks to see. But I don't agree with him being on the field in that position, especially when you know like you got a big game coming up this week that determines if you're going to be if you're the number 3 seed, they're going to be either 2 or 3 seed, or they're going to be a wild card team.
Yep.
Like this is going to prove if you're going to have a home game in the playoff or not.
It's for 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think everybody in the AFC is playing. So I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter if you're 2 or 3 seed. Like you're going to play a good team.
Yeah.
But the home field advantage is definitely. I mean, you're playing the Bills that look like they're getting hot. So.
We'll see on the Bills. I still don't know what the Bills are.
I'm a little higher on the Bills.
I mean, if Bailey Zappi doesn't throw 3 picks in that game, New England beats him.
Yeah, I still wouldn't want to play.
I still want to play
the Bills in the postseason. I really don't.
There's a lot of parity this year in the NFL. That's for sure. And next year I have up is the Colts Raiders. It was a big playoff game for the Colts. Colts had to win to stay in it. Raiders technically still were alive. On life support, but they're dead now for sure. But
they got eliminated this week, and I believe the Broncos and Bengals also got eliminated.
Yes,
this week too. So
correct.
Down to a couple teams there on the AFC fighting for that last spot. But yeah, that Colts Raiders game, Colts definitely they were able to pull one off, and very very much needed. I mean, because the Colts are playing for a playoff spot this week.
They definitely put them in position to control their destiny.
Yep.
They're in a winner get in, win and get in scenario there this week. I thought Minshew played okay.
Yeah.
220 yards, 224 yards, something like that, a touchdown.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor looked good being back. He went for almost 100 and a tutty. Trey Sherman, actually, I thought
Yeah.
looked pretty well,
Yeah.
which actually is a guy I like coming out and just kind of hasn't had a chance to really get a chance in the league, I thought. Kind of got ran out of the 49ers pretty quickly there.
Going on the losing end of that game, I mean, even with a loss, well, I know we touched on this a little bit last week, but I think Antonio Pierce definitely solidified his
I agree.
job.
I agree.
I mean, they're playing hard. Like the Raiders don't have the most talented roster in the league, but they're playing hard.
No, but by no means. That team needs a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, still playing with the backup quarterback who actually played well. I mean, almost 300 yards this week. Devontae Adams had a monster game.
And that I'll be curious to see what they end up going forward as far as quarterback. I mean, O'Connell has shown flashes that he can play very well. Curious to see. I'm sure with as deep as the quarterbacks are, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but I can't see them not going for big game hunting for a quarterback.
Jimmy G's still there too, so I mean, you got to figure out what you're doing with
Yeah,
him.
you got to figure he's probably gone, right? I mean,
You would think, but
Antonio Pierce pretty much.
how gonable is he? I guess.
I guess. If I were guessing, I don't think Jimmy G's there next year. I think
I don't think he's a starter. He might still be there.
he might. And
The contract might be tough to get out
why
of.
wouldn't you want a guy there that has starting experience and winning experience in the league?
Yeah.
I mean, you're more than likely they're going to end up with a rookie quarterback next year.
O'Connell
You still
may
got
have-
O'Connell.
may have-
You
yeah.
still got O'Connell in the room. I mean, I'm sure the franchise is going to want to move forward. I don't know if O'Connell's the answer or not.
Is that a spot for us?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if Jimmy G's there, I don't think Russ has a spot. I don't think Russ is a fit there, just based on the culture they're trying to build there and everything. I don't think Russ ends up going there.
I think it depends on if Pierce ends up getting that job, which I mean he should. I think it'd be criminal to not give it to him, but Mark Davis may do what he wants.
Yeah, I think if the Raiders are going to go anywhere next year, it's going to be with a rookie or either going to O'Connell for another.
Yeah,
season.
I can see them.
I can definitely see
giving O'Connell a
O'Connell
chance.
going there. I don't think Jimmy G's the starting quarterback there anymore if he's even there.
I don't either.
Yeah. So, but overall, not a bad game. Colts are playing for a big one this week. So
Late touchdown definitely had some impacts on the spread there.
Yep.
3.5 spread goes to 3 late. Tough break for kind of a bad. I mean, obviously,
kind
I
of
missed
seems
it.
like the new normal in the NFL this year.
That is true.
So,
That is true.
maybe Vegas made the phone call.
We need this one.
Yeah.
And then for me, the next one here, the biggest shock of the week, the Cards Eagles.
Yeah. Jonathan Gannon returning home back to the Eagles and continuing the Eagles' struggles, their offensive struggles and their defensive struggles, if we're being completely honest. James Conner had a pretty good week.
Yeah, 128 and a tutty. He looked good, ran hard.
I think he had 2 tutties. He had one in the air.
Yeah,
and
one
on the
on the ground, one in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep, I was playing against him in fantasy this week, so I got to see that one firsthand too. But yeah, I mean, the Eagles look like they've been having a little bit of locker room problems. Like not everybody's on the same page, and
I just
guy
don't
Antonio
know.
Brown doesn't want to talk to reporters.
AJ Brown.
Or yeah, second time I said Antonio Brown, AJ Brown. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not great in Philly right now,
No.
and it's that roster is so talented. You kind of got to think they're going to get it turned around here, but going on the road essentially in the playoffs, it looks like here, unless something crazy happens this week.
Yeah, I think Dallas. I mean, Dallas plays Washington this week, so I mean, Sam Howell's back at quarterback. You gotta figure Dallas is still playing for something. So
Yeah, still playing for
Dallas is gonna play their starters.
Yeah.
How deep into the game? I guess it depends on how it goes, but I think Dallas ends up winning that division. I really do, because if Dallas wins, they win the division.
Yeah, they have the tiebreaker.
The Eagles, I mean, I can still see the Eagles making a playoff run and possibly winning the NFC. But I mean, they got to figure out some of their locker room problems. They got to figure out their coaching issues they're having. I mean, we touched on this last week. I don't think Sirianni's a good coach. It's just my opinion. All my Eagle fans that love Sirianni are going to disagree with me. But I mean, at the
They
end
got the
of
best
day,
GM in the league, though.
yeah, the end of the day, they have the best GM in the league. It just gets a great team in there. How he trade for, I don't even know. Like, got AJ Brown for nothing.
Steal Jalen Carter in the draft.
Stole Jalen Carter with the 9th pick in the draft. I don't understand how he keeps doing
No.
it and why people keep making trades with him. I just don't.
You got Kevin Bedard for almost nothing this year.
Yeah. So, but and as far as like we just got done talking about the Colts. I mean, they had a great offensive season last year with Shane Steichen there. We're going to the other side of the field with the Cardinals. The defense played very well, maybe with an exception of the Super Bowl last year with Jonathan Gannon. Like, the Eagles are a completely different team this year without those two coordinators. Sean Desai, maybe not the best play caller in the world with the defense this year. They bring in Matt Patricia and as the new, I guess, defensive play caller, not defensive coordinator, and nothing got any better.
I don't know what happened to him. He was so good for so long in New England, and then since he's left New England, it's like he broken.
Downhill.
Yeah, he's broken or something.
Yeah, that's what happens to every coordinator that leaves.
That is true.
New England.
That's the bill of fare.
They leave New England and they just become terrible at the world.
They forget how to coach football.
I mean, it's players too. I mean,
yeah, it is.
J.C. Jackson was one of the best corners in the league, and then goes to San Diego or Los Angeles, and I don't even know where he's at right now. I think he's back with New England.
He's
but
back in New England.
I mean, he roller coaster right down.
Yeah, we're not paying him anything though. So.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Jonathan Gannon. I think Jonathan Gannon proved like he can be a good coach. Like, little cringy, kind of gives me a little cringy vibes. But I mean, he obviously proved he's a good coach. And there's a reason why both their coordinators got head coaching jobs last year.
It is tough losing both coordinators for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for me, the Eagles, they just got to take some more shots. I mean, literally, Hurts throws 3 touchdowns this week, but has 167 yards passing.
Yep. And I think the problem with that is they just love to run that quarterback draw. So, and I guess Alabama this week decided to take that play right out of their book.
That was a bad call.
Oh, yeah. If anybody watched the Alabama game.
I
looked at the TV and literally said, "Is Brian Johnson calling the play?"
Because, I mean, it was a bad snap. I don't know if that necessarily was the way it was supposed to run.
I tell you what, my wife...
Alabama's got to have a better center than that.
Yeah, my wife was telling me the whole game, what is the center doing? Why is it so bad? Now, not all of them were on him. I mean, some of them, the one Milrow was looking in the stands, and the ball was in his chest. And it was a fumble. It was the one I think he lost like 10 yards and he just hopped on top of it. But, I mean, low snaps, side snaps. Like,
they were drive
he's catching the ball up here.
Yeah, worse times for some of them snaps, and it's tough. It's tough
definitely a bad break for them. But, hell, Michigan played good. So,
it was a great game, though.
Yeah, definitely a great game.
Yeah, but obviously Julio, made a reoccurrence in this game. 2 tutties in the game.
2 touchdowns.
So that's real. Haven't really seen him all year, so that's good to see.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to lean on him a little bit going into the playoffs.
At least in a red zone. I mean, I don't know if he has it still anymore to be every down.
Yep.
Guy.
He definitely don't have the legs to be the every down guy, but.
With his size and frame,
he can't imagine he still can't go up and get it when he needs to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you need a play in the back, you need a play in the end zone in a fourth quarter game in the playoffs. Like, you're going to go to him, you're going to go to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Like, if Julio Jones can play well, I mean, they should be unstoppable in the red zone.
Yeah, they should.
They should be.
They should for sure. And for me with the Eagles, the only thing that concerns me with them. And it concerns me because I don't really like the Eagles, is with them going in as not winning the division, does it give them that underdog mentality that they do thrive in?
Is Lane Johnson going to bring the mask out?
I'm sure.
I
know Jason Kelsey still has the.
I hope he does.
The
Sexy
outfit
Batman's going to trade in the Batman mask for the underdog.
Yeah, and that's where they get scary. Is when they're the underdog.
Somebody give Nick Foles a call, please. Like, Jalen Hurts is going to sit this one out. He got the flu. We're going to give Nick Foles a call. That's what they really need, right? That's what the Eagles need. That's what it is. Bring out the underdog masks and Nick Foles. Get Trey Burton in there to throw the Philly touchdown pass, too.
Yeah, true. So. We'll see what happens with them. I definitely think they're still.
I think the Eagles are okay. I think they're obviously. I mean, Cowboys win. They're not going to have the home game, but like not playing in Philly. I mean, I know Philly's a hard place to play. I mean, them not being able to play in Philly is definitely going to suck for them.
It might not be a bad thing for them too to get out of Philly.
Yep.
Get away from the noise because it is getting a little loud.
Yeah, I mean, Philly's definitely when you're not performing, they're going to let you know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anybody watching. If you're not familiar with Philly, they have the worst fans in all of sports.
I'm not sorry.
They
Y'all suck.
They are the worst fans. I've seen videos of people walking in the stadiums with 6, 7-year-old kids flipping the bird.
Yep.
Like that's.
I mean, they threw batteries at Santa Claus. So.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I've seen people get beers dumped on them for no apparent reason. I personally had a beer dumped on me at a Permane Brothers one time because I wasn't an Eagles fan. I'm a damn Broncos fan. The Eagles play the Broncos once every 4 years.
Yeah.
And we played, I remember it was 2017 in Permane Brothers. And sitting at the bar, and I got a beer dumped on me while we were losing 50-8, I think it was. It was a blowout. Brock Osweiler played quarterback. It wasn't.
I'll just tell you everything you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what I did to have a beer dumped on me, but at the end of the day, Eagles fans suck. That's
Absolutely, 100% agree.
So,
but finish up there with obviously one PA team there. Let's head to the other end of the state with the Steelers there. Obviously, get the big win against the Seahawks. Najee played great.
Yeah.
I don't know where this Najee's been. Najee's been all year.
He played angry.
Yeah,
he played like angry Najee.
Yeah, and obviously George Pickens made a showing last a couple weeks here. And they have a quarterback controversy there.
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of Mason.
Mason Rudolph looks like the best quarterback they've had there in the last 2 years. Does he not?
I think it's hard to say because Pickett only got one game without Matt Canada, the worst coach since Adam Gase, in my opinion.
Yeah. Matt Canada. I know Steelers fans were calling for his head for quite a while. So yeah. Kind of similar to Ravens fans calling for Greg Roman's head.
Yeah, but I don't think it was quite as bad. I remember going opening night, the Pens game, and there's a Fire Canada chant in the stadium.
At a Pens game.
Yep. And obviously it was Connor Bedard's first night in the league, so I'm sitting next to a guy who came down from Toronto. And he's like, why are they firing? What did Canada do? And I had to explain to this guy who Matt Canada was. It was great. But he's like, what did we do?
What did Canada ever do to you, eh? Oh, my goodness.
That's a true story.
Poor guy. Yeah, Matt Canada, he needs to be shipped to Canada. And coach the Montreal Alouettes or whatever they're called with Chad Kelly.
Yeah,
I think that's where Chad Kelly plays, right?
Yeah, that's where he did. I don't know if he's still there. I don't follow CFL
football
much there, but the rules are different up there for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Rudolph, he played well though. 274 yards. No touchdowns though. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird stat line.
I mean, they were running the crap out of the ball. There was one play, Najee Harris literally got stopped at the 5-yard line, and just the whole team just pushed him in, and it was the good thing with the refs. The refs let it play out. Ball. I mean, he wasn't stood up, so I mean, the ball kept moving. He kept moving forward. So and he carried about 15 people in the end zone with him. Damn impressive, and Jalen Warren's still pretty impressive with the change of pace there. If they can make that work with them two, they're a good fire and ice. Them two are.
Yeah, I think they're definitely trending in the right direction there. I think they do have. I don't think either guy is the future there. I don't. I have a hard time.
It works for now.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing them go away from Pickett. Just how that season ended. I think he at least gets the start of next year.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Defense for the Steelers needs definitely some work.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle had 88 yards on 15 carries.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty damn nice.
Yeah.
Nice yards per carry there.
They need a little help up the middle.
Yeah. Gino had 290 yards too as well.
I mean, T.J. Watt holds his end down. I mean, they're playing.
Beyond
Miles
TJ,
Jack is playing linebacker,
true.
And Miles Jack, and if anybody's familiar with the story, he was playing for the Eagles in the beginning of the year. Steeler last year. He played with the Steelers last year. Played for the Eagles, signed with the Eagles in the preseason this year. And at the beginning of the season, he decided to retire and go become an electrician. I guess he got a taste of being an electrician and probably didn't want to work in the real world yet. So
that's sucks.
Yeah. So, I mean, is he a great option right now? There's not a whole lot of linebackers out there to get, but I mean, they definitely need some help up the middle.
For sure. I mean, they definitely have some elite pass rush, with Alex Highsmith and T.J. Watt, obviously.
Absolutely.
But beyond that, I mean, Joey Porter's look solid there. Yeah. Fitzpatrick's been banged up a little bit here, but he's solid. But beyond that, they don't really have much.
No, they don't have a whole lot of superstars.
Casey Hayward's still there, but he's getting up there.
Yeah. They definitely don't have the superstars on defense. They have got a bunch of good role players, and like you said, you have Joey Porter Jr., the rookie. He's going to come into his own. Minka Fitzpatrick, he's out, I believe, right now.
Yeah, he didn't play this week.
So, when he's back, he's one of the top safeties in the league. They'll need some help, and they got to work with the draft a little bit. But I think really the biggest thing is figuring out this offense and figuring out the quarterback. And I think Tomlin said Rudolph's playing this week.
Yes,
and he's going to roll with the hot hand.
Yeah, Pickett is healthy.
I don't know why. I don't know why you would go away from Mason Rudolph. Now, obviously, when Mason Rudolph screws up, it's going to be very easy to take him out.
Yeah, he's got a short leash for sure.
But you got to ride the hot hand.
But the playoffs are on the line for them. They're technically still not out of it. They do need some help.
Yeah.
But I don't really see them getting there. But we'll see how it goes. But they looked pretty decent last week.
Yeah, but shout out Mike Tomlin's been coach 17 years, hasn't had a losing season.
Yeah.
Pretty damn impressive.
It's impressive. It is. There is quite a few seasons in there at 500 or just above. But yeah, it's not easy to win in the league for sure.
Definitely not. I'm like I said, I'm a Broncos fan and haven't had a winning season since Peyton Manning. So it's
that's true. I haven't had one since Brady.
Been 8 years, and it's the same old song and dance every year. But we don't want to talk about that poverty team right now.
But let us kind of get into a team there that, in my opinion, was quite disappointing in a win last week there, and that's the Chiefs and the Bengals game. I said last week that this is the week the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I don't know. If the Chiefs are the Chiefs.
Ain't chiefing.
Yeah, the Chiefs aren't chiefing for sure.
I think Taylor Swift laid a bad spell on Travis Kelce because I don't know where the hell he's been. My fantasy team's wondering the same freaking thing of where the hell he's been.
You named your team after him.
Yeah, I did. I did name my team after him. I'm a big Jason Kelce fan though too. So
I love both.
I would love to be the third Kelce brother. have Mama Kelce as a bonus mom. That would be awesome. But yeah,
I'm a big Kelce fan as well. Of both of them. But he non-existent. 3 catches, 16 yards, 4 targets. Didn't look great.
He definitely didn't look great, and like I said, he's been killing my fantasy team the last couple of weeks. I think he had one good game since Taylor Swift joined the club, and
he's had a couple since then, but
he just looks non-existent.
Yeah,
like Justin Watson and Noah Gray are getting a majority of the looks. It seems.
I mean, and I do think some of that is that nobody else in that offense can catch the damn ball at this point. But
I'm sure it's easy to single out one guy and double team one guy, take that guy out.
I mean, he's still for a tight end. He needs 30 yards for 1,000 yards this year, and he's 7 catches short of 100 catches for a tight end. So that's crazy. If he gets to 1,000 yards, which I 100% think he does, that's 8 straight years for a tight end.
Yep.
He's definitely the best tight end to ever play the game,
He is.
and I don't think it's close.
I think it's a little closer than what you want to believe.
I don't think it is.
Gronk in his prime was a sight to see.
I agree, but Gronk's durability and longevity isn't there.
Yeah.
So I think
Gronk was definitely hurt a lot more.
Yeah, I think if you take prime for prime, yes, they're very close. But Kelce has done it for so much longer. To me, that's just it's way more impressive, and that's from a New England fan.
I think Gronk also benefited too. If Aaron Hernandez doesn't go off the deep end, does Gronk have a career like he does?
Yeah, I think so.
You think?
Yeah.
I think Aaron Hernandez would have got a little bit of target share there.
I mean,
I know Brady still loved Gronk, and who knows? Maybe Gronk would have got traded to the Lions after all.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
I guess he technically did get traded to the Lions.
Yeah, he said no.
He said no. I'm retiring.
Yeah, exactly.
And never got traded.
Yeah,
it's still one of the best boss moves ever.
It is. Gronk was definitely a one of a kind individual. That tight end position seems to just be full of characters. You look at George Kittle, obviously Travis and Gronk and
George Kittle, the future WWE superstar.
Absolutely.
Yep, and I will watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will watch.
He's much fun TV for sure.
There's a lot of. I mean, a lot of these. We're talking good tight ends. They're all good dudes, like you said. George Kittle, you love him. Travis Kelce, you love to see him succeed. Gronk was one of the best personalities.
He had the most
play.
fun at anybody.
Yeah, definitely a lot of characters.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks fun to be an NFL tight end.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, the Chiefs, Pacheco looked great.
Yeah.
I mean, that man literally runs like he's mad at the ground.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
I knew you were going there. We say that all the time to each other.
Yep. He's literally mad at something when he's running the ball.
Oh, absolutely.
He definitely runs with a purpose, and he seems to be the only offense they have right now.
Mahomes doesn't look great.
No.
Looks frustrated.
Mahomes definitely put for a new receiver on his Christmas list.
Absolutely. Or I think it's more than one. I think Rashee Rice is a nice piece. He's young. He's got some growing to do, but I think he's probably the only receiver.
He's not a number one.
No, he's probably the only receiver worth a shit on the team.
Yep.
To be honest with you,
And
Scantling is terrible.
No.
He's terrible. Kadarius Toney, I don't know what his problem is.
Yeah.
But he can't catch nothing.
Yeah, both of those guys there. I mean, I think they're both gone, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't understand why they keep Valdez Scantling around. Tony has a lot of upside, like he really does. I mean, he's proved that he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he's proved he definitely has concentration drops
like
and
Sky
issues with his
that
hands.
just hasn't gotten it done.
Yeah, Sky Moore's kind of a gadget guy for me. I just don't know if he's really a.
I think Rashee Rice, like if the Chiefs were able, personally, I think the Chiefs are going to trade up and get one of these receivers in the first round. There's a lot of good. I mean, there's five, in my opinion, 5 first-round receivers this year. I can't see a reason why the Chiefs aren't trading up to get one of them. I mean, you got to think that's their biggest need is a receiver.
Oh, it's definitely the biggest need.
And
sure.
I mean, if they can get a guy like a big go up and get it guy, I think Rashee Rice, his numbers go up too because they're not going to be focused on him as much. Right now, they're focused on Rashee Rice as the number one receiver.
I don't know if they need to trade up, to be honest with you. I think there's some guys at the back half of that first round that are going to be there that have absolute physical freak stuff.
Yeah.
A guy like Xavier Legette, I think, would thrive there. Yeah. He is a physical specimen.
I really like the fit of Keon Coleman there.
I like Keon Coleman too, but I don't think he's there that late.
I don't think he
Keon
is.
Coleman goes
maybe
before
that's
that.
the guy. That's the guy I'm referring to as. Can you trade up and get him? Because I don't think they're going to be able to get up and go get Neighbors. They're not touching Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think they're getting Neighbors. I don't think they're getting Romeo Dunze. But
I don't think so either. Yeah,
those 3 guys I think are top 10 picks. So I mean, it's.
I don't know if Coleman goes in the top 10. I'm
talking about Coleman. I think would be the fourth.
Okay, yeah, he's probably top.
Coleman's probably 15-ish.
I think it depends on where they go in the playoffs. If they go out first round, which honestly they could,
they're going to be low 20s.
Coleman could be in play there.
Yeah.
But I do think a guy like Xavier Legette, I really like.
They'll be able to get a receiver.
Oh yeah, this receiver class. I mean, you can get a guy in probably the 3rd, 4th round that's going to come in and be a difference maker. I honestly think that.
Don't be surprised if they don't take multiple.
I would be shocked if they didn't take multiple.
That room is going to be completely revamped. That is going to be. It's going to be. They might have a new receiver coach. Who knows? That room is going to be completely revamped.
Yeah,
obviously it needs to, and I think Mahomes is kind of welcoming.
Yeah, he's been trying to kind of make gold here with fool's gold here at receiver for.
This is definitely Mahomes' worst season of his career, I would think, and it's probably
he's still having a good year.
Yeah,
That's just
I know.
It's not Mahomes-esque, but it's still. I mean.
But when the problem
majority of the league a great
when a quarterback doesn't have a ball, somebody to throw the ball to.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
It's there's a lot of drops. I mean, they lead the league in drop passes this year by a lot. It's just frustrating for the quarterback when he's hitting you right in the hands and the balls are hitting the ground.
I still like the Chiefs. I love Andy Reid. I love Kelsey. I think their offensive line's still playing pretty good. And I believe I said this last week. I still would not want to play the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah, I still don't want to play against. I don't want to bet against them, especially because you look at the defense. The defense had 6 sacks this week,
and they are going to play in Arrowhead. They'll have a game in Arrowhead. So I mean, they're gonna finish as the 3 seed. It looks like.
Yes.
Mahomes isn't playing this week because I think they pretty much locked.
Yeah, they have locked. Yeah, they've locked up though.
So you're gonna play. You're gonna play in Arrowhead, and you're gonna play the 6 seed.
Yeah.
So we're looking most likely they're going to play the Bills in the first round.
If the Bills win.
Yeah. That's probably the most likely scenario. If the Bills win this week, that's going to be has to be the game of the week, I would think.
Yeah, I would say so.
In the wild card game.
So that's going to be a tough game. That's normally the.
Yeah. If I were the Bills, it's not the game I want to be in. That's not the place I want to go.
Neither one of those teams you want to see.
No, like like if I were the Bills, that's like I said, it's not where I want to go. I'd rather go to Miami and play Miami again, but I don't think that scenario really happens.
No.
So based on where they fall,
Yeah,
it's a very confusing landscape in the AFC this week.
Because they can't get the 6.
Yeah, yeah. The AFC. Well, we're going to talk about this a little later, but the AFC landscape for the playoffs it's a little confusing.
There's a lot of moving parts.
A lot of things that
could
happen.
happen.
The NFC's a little simpler, but the AFC has a lot of stuff going on. If somebody wins and this person loses, this person gets in, and so on and so forth.
A whole bunch of ties that can potentially be a factor.
Ties.
Yeah.
You remember? Was it last year? The everybody who was the team hoping for the tie between the Chargers and the Raiders the last week of the season? When the Steelers?
I think it was. No, it wasn't Steelers.
I think the Chargers got in if they would have tied, and then the Raiders decided we're going to win the game because fuck you.
Yes, and the Chargers had a chance to tie that game and ended up losing.
And they would have made the playoffs, and they ended up losing. Yep. And because the Raiders like fuck you, we don't want to tie.
Yeah.
Why would we want to tie and let you get in?
Yeah.
So, the Raiders are always really good at playing spoiler.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the Raiders don't do shit all year round, but then they play good the last 3 games of the season. So they play Denver this week. Go Raiders. Go Raiders, because Denver's going to be trading up for a quarterback, and 3 picks higher, you probably give up 1 less draft pick.
Yeah.
So, because, I mean, they're sitting at 14 right now. They lose the Raiders. They probably fall somewhere around 10, 11.
Yeah, I think it's 11.
Yeah.
I think it's 11 they can get to.
So, go Raiders.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce, I hope you get the job.
Yeah, I think Pierce should get the job for sure. We've said that for a while now.
Yeah.
But finish up here on the Chiefs. Obviously, Harrison Butker has 6 field goals in that game. Almost gets to the record. I don't know if you know who has the record or what the record is, but I do.
For all time?
Most field goals in a game.
Most field goals in a game. All time or just Chiefs?
All time.
All time. Sebastian Janikowski. No. Who is it?
It's Rob Baronis. He's 8.
Oh. Never would have guessed that.
Never would have guessed it either. Actually,
my next guess would have been Gostkowski.
Both would have been good picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's Rob Baronis.
Yeah, you pretty much got to think of a kicker that doesn't have that great a quarterback that's not going to score points. So
true.
Probably not Gostkowski. But Janikowski played on a lot of Raiders teams that never really knew who the quarterback was.
True. True.
So.
So that'll be that'll do it there for the rundown of last week here. Let's take a look at this upcoming week here. Obviously, the playoff on the line for some guys here. Is there are a decent amount of teams that already have clinched and are making a decision to whether we start our starters or we rest. What do we do? Obviously,
speaking going off that with the resting and everything. Like, I know a lot of people don't like when they see people resting and stuff the last week of the season. I love it. I love the last week of the season. You got a lot of these games coming up this week, like the Steelers and the Ravens. Like, everybody loves the Steelers-Ravens game. Like, the Ravens obviously aren't going to be playing many starters, but the Steelers are playing for something. Mm-hmm. You go to the Texans and Colts. Like, they're all division games, which I love. I love division games. Texans and Colts are playing for something. Now, you're going to have a lot of barn burners, but...
that Texans Colts game's a winner-get-in thing there. But with the Ravens, I don't think I've heard officially if Lamar's not going to play. Yeah. I don't know. Part of me thinks that Harbaugh is going to go out there guns a-blazing and try to tell Tomlin to, go golfing or some shit because he don't want him in the postseason. Yep. So I don't know.
I think the Ravens are definitely going to play hard, and Tyler Huntley's a good backup quarterback, so it's not like they're just throwing in the towel and saying,
Huntley's a perfect backup for that. Hell, he's made a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowl quarterback last year. It's insane.
It's crazy.
But if you're looking down the list, I mean, like, the NFC South is a big division there this week with who's going to win. Who wins that division this week? I think that division's up for grabs this week, right?
It is.
So, you got the Saints playing the Falcons and the Panthers playing the Bucs. I mean, the Bucs have an easier game there. You never know what Falcons team's going to show up, and you never know what Saints team is going to show up. That's in the Superdome, so, I mean, you got that. And then,
Tampa wins that division if they win or tie.
So Tampa wins, they're in.
Win or tie.
Okay,
so a tie would also clinch the division.
That definitely doesn't look good for the Saints, who play the Falcons and watching the Buccaneers play the Panthers.
Playoff berth with a tie. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, division is only win only. Sorry.
Gotcha. And if you look at the NFC East, the Eagles are the biggest Commanders fans this week. So
I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. I know Sam Howell's probably trying to play for a job, but I think their decisions are.
That game is in Washington, correct?
Yeah.
There's a chance then.
Yeah, Washington's probably the worst stadium in the league.
It is, and Dallas is not a very good road team.
No. And, but yeah, I mean, Sam Howell's trying to play for his job, which I think we all know is not going to happen.
Not going to happen, yeah.
No.
Sam Howell's not the guy, and that's...
And this is the draft. If you have a top 2 pick, you do not pass it up. I mean,
no.
You're not going to get these top 2 guys at quarterback, or honestly, top 6 guys at quarterback. You're not going to have a top 6 like this for a while.
It is definitely a pretty solid job. I think there's 4 legit dudes for sure in this draft.
We'll get into that a little bit. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later, especially like our top 5 quarterbacks here later. So
I'm gonna do little scouting reports for you guys on them.
Yeah, the stuff we really enjoy, the scouting. My favorite time of the NFL is the NFL offseason. So love the draft, love the scouting. So, but yeah, some more recaps of this week. Do you have any ones that stick out to you?
As far as looking ahead here for next week, obviously the Texans Colts probably the biggest game I think of the outside of Miami Buffalo. I think the Texans Colts, that's going to be a great game. Both those teams win or get in. That's a playoff game in Week 18. You don't always get those, so both teams control their own destiny.
Games.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Both those teams have played well. Both of those teams have exceeded every expectation that I think that everybody had for them this year.
And we get the treat of that on Saturday night. That's Saturday night.
Saturday night game. Yes, it is. It's a primetime game. I'm sure.
Who would have thought a Texans Colts game would have got a Week 18 primetime game?
I don't know if you could have put money on that.
I don't know.
I don't think you could have found that line.
You would have been a really rich man. But
unless it was for like the first overall pick this year, maybe I think that was a more realistic outcome than these 2 teams playing for a playoff spot.
And I mean, both of them guys, both of the coaches there have done a tremendous job. Like we talked last week again, D'Amico Ryan's one of my favorite coaches in the league. But Shane Steichen, if the Colts make the playoffs, Shane Steichen has to be a contender for Coach of the Year.
I kind of want to honestly say that that's a playoff game for that.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say whoever wins that game has the rights to Coach of the Year.
Yep.
I think in my opinion, it's between those two. For what they've done, especially with backup quarterbacks at certain points of the year. Obviously, the Colts have had a backup quarterback most of the year, and I really think that's the Coach of the Year bowl.
If I had to, I want Shane Steichen to win, or Shane Steichen or D'Amico Ryans to win Coach of the Year. But if I had to put my money on who wins Coach of the Year, it's going to be Kevin Stefanski. I really do.
Yeah,
I really think it's going to be Stefanski.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But I mean, I like the other
Joe
two better.
Fucking Flacco comes off the couch.
That's a better roster though without.
I don't care. I mean, Joe Flacco's had some rough freaking outings since he left Baltimore, and like now all of a sudden he's playing like 2012 Flacco.
Playoff Flacco,
yeah. Like playoff Flacco is elite. Playoff Flacco is probably a top 5 quarterback in the league. Come on. Playoff Flacco is elite.
The year they won the bowl, and then he got paid afterward. Yet that Flacco was top 5.
I still have nightmares about the year they went to the bowl. I don't know if you remember the divisional game where Baltimore and Denver are playing, and late in the game, Denver's winning, and it should keep the lead. And Joe Flacco throws up a prayer to Jacoby Jones, and Raheem the Dream Moore decides to jump 10 years early and completely whiffed on the ball.
He mistimed
worst safety of all time.
He mistimed that by a week.
Yeah, I still have nightmares about that play. It was the worst play I've ever watched with my 2 eyes.
It was bad.
Game.
It was bad.
It was heartbreaking. Denver probably wins the Super Bowl that year, but I'm biased.
Yeah.
So Denver ended up going on to play in the Super Bowl the following year and got their asses kicked. So against Seattle.
Yeah, I mean,
and ironically, Russell Wilson. So
true. That is true. I'm good with any of those 3 as coach, but I mean, I think the winner of that game just adds hype to that game.
I think they have to be your final 3.
Yeah, I agree.
They have to be. I don't think there's a trio of coaches that have done a better job this year in the league.
No, especially with what they were dealt.
Yeah, I mean nobody thought the Colts were doing anything this year. I mean, and then your starting quarterback, but then the starting quarterback goes out in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, once Anthony Richardson went out, I didn't see them being in the hunt. Although I do like Gardner Minshew, I just didn't think he was that great. And at this point, I think he's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So.
Gardner Minshew might be one of the best backups in the league. So,
yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of got a rough shake out of it.
Yeah.
Really, everywhere he's been, he's been
Absolutely.
decent everywhere he's played,
Yep.
and nobody's really let him be the guy. So I'm pulling for you, Gardner.
Yep. Love him. Guy lives out of his van. I don't know if that's still true, but I know.
I don't know if yeah. He looks like somebody who lives out of his van. To be honest.
Yeah, right.
But then for me, I have the Bears and Packers on here. Is that Fields' last game with the Bears? I don't think he's out of the league by any
No,
means, but.
I don't believe so. If I had to have my opinion on, I mean, and this is I think he definitely performed very well this week to where Bears fans want him, and I think Bears fans don't want to move away from him yet. But then you have to look at the business side of it. You have the number 1 pick in the draft. You are never going to get the opportunity like this again to pick a caliber player at the top. I'm not going to name a player because I don't know if me and you have different opinions on it. We're going to get to that part, but
We might.
There's 2 guys there at the top of the draft.
I think there's 3.
Well, I know you think there's 3, but I think there's only 2 players that are going to go 1-2, unless the Bears decide they're going to trade or they're not going to trade Justin Fields. And if they decide they're not going to trade Justin Fields, I think they have to move from the pick because I don't think picking a receiver at number 1 is the way to go.
I would agree.
I think you have to. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. is an elite talent. But if you are moving from if you have the number 1 pick and you're staying with Justin Fields, there are so many good receivers in this draft. You can move down to 2 if Washington decides, I want my choice, and I don't want to get the second guy, I want the first guy. Washington moves up a spot. You can collect a first-round pick next year just for Washington moving up 1 spot and then take Harrison. I'd be more comfortable with that than picking Harrison at 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think I think what it comes down to is Justin Fields a $40 million quarterback for you? And if that answer is yes, you move 1 and you get a king's ransom for it.
Justin Fields has shown so much promise. I mean, if you get him some weapons there, what can he be? I don't think they've shown that yet. He doesn't. He has Luke Getsy as his offensive coordinator, which is.
I mean, it's the first year he's had a receiver too.
Yeah,
really.
and I mean, he has DJ Moore, and look what he can do. If you can get him another guy like Malik Neighbors or a Romeo Dunze, if they can trade down and still end up getting Marvin Harrison, I think that's the absolute best case scenario for them. If they can trade down, I mean, if you look at your top 4, who's picking? You have the Bears, you have Commanders, you have
Cardinals.
The Cardinals. The Cardinals are 4. Who's at 3? New England right now?
New England's 3 or 4.
If somebody trades up and says, hey, if somebody in the top 5 wants to trade up, and
I think New England ends
1,
up at 4 because I do think they beat the Jets this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all good. There's a whole week of shakeup left, and we can talk about this a little bit more next week when we get the official top 5. But I mean, I think best case scenario, and if I were Ryan Poles, I'm keeping Justin Fields, and I'm trading down and still somehow trying to get Marvin Harrison. Because I don't think anybody's going to trade up for Marvin Harrison because it's going to cost a lot.
No, somebody's coming up for a quarterback.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can trade down to 3 or 4, because I think you might still be able to get Harrison at 4 if there's a 1, 2, 3 scenario of quarterbacks like we saw when
3. New England is 3 right now.
Yeah. When a couple years ago when Trey Lance was picked number 3, when we had with a run of 1, 2, and 3 at quarterback. I think there's a realistic chance we see that this year.
I do too.
1, 2, I think are a lock.
I think there's 3 in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah. I agree.
I think it's going to come down to.
And I think Harrison's in there, and I think a tackle's in there. If you're talking 3 out of 5, or it could very well be 2 receivers.
Yeah.
Either way, I think you're going to get 5 offensive players picked with the first 5 picks.
I do too. Which kind of actually really, just talking about that real quick here, that kind of really surprised me because I actually think this is a really deep defensive class, especially the D end position. I think there's a lot of talent there. I think it's one of my favorite positions to scout this year.
Yeah.
I have started that. I'm not fully done with it yet, but I do think it's a really good group of edge rushers and D ends this year. Linebackers, I think it's kind of weak, and corners. This is one of the best corner drafts I think we've had in a while. There's some safeties that can play too. But
I think we're very deep. I think me and you can both agree we're very deep with defensive players in the draft. But I think there's a lot more big name.
Yeah, I would agree with
guys.
that. I'll agree with that.
Like,
There's
but the depth, like you're going to see a lot of day 2 defensive players taken.
that can all play.
Yeah.
They're going to be day 1 starters.
You're going to have late day 2 players that are going to be starters day 1.
Yeah, I think there's definitely higher end elite early talent in this draft, and a lot of depth on the back end in the.
And that's kind of going off the Bears situation too. The Bears have some holes on defense. If you are the Bears and you have number 1, you're more than just a quarterback receiver away. I mean, I think, like I said, I think Justin Fields can get it done. Obviously, they need to get a receiver, but if you're going to trade away from number 1, I'd be trying to collect as many 2024 picks as I could. Trying to do anything to get those 2024 picks, and then you're going to have the Bears. I mean, you got to figure too. The Bears have a second first-round pick.
They do, and I was actually just looking to try to see where that's going to land.
Going to land around 10, right?
Right now, it's projected 10. If they win this week, it could hamper that.
Then you got to kind of look at that end too. I mean, if they decide
probably 13, 12,
if you are going to move away from Justin Fields, they're at 10. Again, like they'll probably be at 10. If they pick a Caleb Williams or a Drake May at number 1. They can get a quarterback, or you can get a receiver again at 10 if they want to.
I think Roma Dunze.
They can get Roma Dunze. They can get Keon Coleman. They can get Leggett, like you were saying. So
Leggett's a little early for me at 10.
But I'm saying they can always get him later too if they want
to trade. I think Leggett legitimately might fall to the second round, but I think he could be an absolute steal.
But as far as the number 10 pick, they don't have to sit at number 10 if they want. They can go. They can collect all the picks they want. They are in. The Bears are in a dream scenario for a GM.
Yes.
It's going to be a hard decision. Do you go with Fields? I mean, I can see. I can tell you what I would do is stay with Fields and still trade down and try to get Harrison. But he's going to have a lot of questions to answer if they pass him on a quarterback. The Bears GM. They're going to have a lot of questions to answer.
And if I'm sitting in that seat, the way I think I handle this is I go to Fields and say, this is my number. This is what we'll give you in a second contract. 25, 30 million. Will you take this? Maybe get him at undervalued because he's kind of a question mark at this point. And if he says no, move on from him.
Yeah.
If he's going to expect 40 to 50 million and try to reset the market, I think I move on for him. But if I can get him at a little bit of hometown discount, call it, I think I would do that for sure. If I can save 10 million on my quarterback spot and still have a serviceable, very good athletic quarterback who hasn't had weapons. Yeah. I mean, outside of Cole Kmet and DJ Moore, it's the only receivers he's had. Yeah. The running back room's not great. No. Khalil Herbert, he's flashing a pan at times, but he's not a guy. I don't think. I think they need a running back. The O-lines need some work. They got real young tackles. I think their interior O-line needs work. Their tackles are pretty solid.
Yeah. Darnell Wright seemed to be a pretty good pick out of Tennessee last year.
Yeah. So, Darnell Wright and
I don't think that was a sexy pick.
What's the
team won
other
last
tackle?
Year, but Tevin Jenkins.
Tevin Jenkins is guard.
They move him inside.
Yeah, he plays guard. What is the?
I didn't realize.
Braxton Jones. He's a young guy, rookie. I think it's Braxton Jones. Let names come into mind there. They don't have anything at center. Cody Whitehair has been terrible inside. So I definitely think they need a guard at center. They need to really shore up the interior line there. And then the defense obviously needs work. I mean, obviously that defense was definitely a world different with Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
Went to the Pro Bowl. Kind of surprised me there a little bit, but he played well.
A lot of things with the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, the Pro Bowls
surprised me.
They got to redo that.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
St. Brown's
not on there.
Let's hit that real quick. Just who's your biggest snub? Is it St. Brown?
It's St. Brown. 100%. I think it's St. Brown.
For me, it's Zaire Franklin. Zaire Franklin leads the league in tackles and is not a Pro Bowler for a playoff contending team.
But I think everybody knows when the All-Pro comes out, that'll be a little bit more.
Yeah, the All-Pro is.
The All-Pro list will definitely be a little bit more eye-opening. But I mean, the Pro Bowl has been and always will be a popularity contest.
It is, and to my issue with that is it has meaningful impact on these guys' legacies. Like when you're going to the Hall of Fame, it's like, well, how many Pro Bowls did he make?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
The Pro Bowl's a joke.
Yep. And if we were just talking about this guy earlier, but Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler.
Mac Jones was a Pro Bowl quarterback.
I know the AFC hasn't had very good Pro Bowl play recently, and when you figure like guys like Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes sit out and don't participate because they're playing meaningful football.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you had Mahomes in the Super Bowl last year, so like, who was the three quarterbacks there last year? Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Huntley, and I don't remember who the third one was, but it was terrible.
Yeah, probably some backup.
It wasn't good.
Somebody, yeah.
I think
it's bad.
I think Derek Carr was in one of them recent years ago. I mean, they haven't had very
no, it hasn't been great for the Pro Bowl as far as that goes. But how does Jared Goff not get in there? He's literally the third leading passer in yards and fourth in touchdowns for a division-winning team.
Popularity contest.
And
Jared Goff isn't like.
But Matt Stafford had a great year.
Yeah.
Jared Goff has better record, better numbers, and did not make it. And Lamar Jackson's not the starter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand how you're the MVP.
You're the MVP, but you're not the all-star. Yeah, the Pro Bowl star.
You can't start in the Pro Bowl, Lamar.
Yeah.
The more and more I look at it, I don't think Lamar's going to be playing in the Pro Bowl anyway.
I don't.
Because I think Lamar.
There's a solid chance.
I think Lamar is. If the Ravens keep playing the way they are, the Ravens might win the AFC.
They have every opportunity to. That team looks good. Lamar looks like he's a world beater again. Obviously playing pissed off. All the talk about his contract negotiation in the offseason, I think, really fueled his motivation this year.
And if you look at the NFL, might be giving it away who's in the Super Bowl anyway. If you look at the previous couple of years, the colors of the Super Bowl
you're
logo
a conspiracy theorist
are
there.
Purple and red.
That is true.
Which means we might see a Ravens 49ers. Since the first time to 2012, rematch 2012. I think if that happens, it'll be a little bit of an opposite of last time. I think if Ravens-Niners meet in the Super Bowl, I think the Niners edge that one out.
Yeah, the Niners, I think, are the favorite going in. I do. But let's get into our in the zone player here, which for everybody out there, in the zone player is our player of the week essentially. For me, speaking of Lamar, it's got to be Lamar. I called Lamar having a day, winning that game last week and wrapping up the MVP, which I think he did. Obviously 321 and 5 tuds. Yep. Had like 35 on the ground as well. So for me, it's got to be Lamar Jackson for my in the zone player this week.
Yeah, I think if we're talking, we were just talking about this guy too for my in zone guy. I think it's Justin Fields. Justin Fields had a good day. He was able to get some stuff going there. He had an incredible escape. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yes.
But he had an incredible escape that was able to extend the play. He had Bears fans chanting his name. He's making a case to keep himself in Chicago. I think he wants to stay in Chicago. I think they're building something good there. I think they're just a couple pieces away, but I think Justin Fields was he was him this weekend. Like he's definitely playing for a spot, and I like Justin Fields. If Chicago decides they want to go away from him, I'd be open to Justin Fields coming to Denver. But then the problem is you're gonna have to pay him right away, and is it worth paying him or is it worth taking a chance on this?
I think it depends on what you got to pay him. I really do. I think it really comes down to what does he want for that market? Is he going to be reasonable, or is he going to try to set the market? I think that's really what it comes down to. And is it worth
taking a chance on a rookie or letting Justin Fields reset the market?
It's definitely more
because right now I don't think he's deserving of resetting.
I don't either. But every quarterback seems to want the next money, and in 5 years that money doesn't look nearly as bad because there's been 12 other contracts.
But I think he's definitely. I think he's definitely played himself into a chance of them considering it a little bit more.
Oh, he's definitely opened the door.
Yeah,
for sure. I think a couple weeks ago that door may have been shut, but I definitely think he is. He's definitely kicked it open and he's making a case for it for sure.
Absolutely.
And for me, my honorable mention, we'll call it, would be Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
On the defensive side, he had 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Honestly, if the Lions find a way to win that game, he's probably my player of the week this week because he was a monster.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, one of my favorite players in the league. I will say that every week on the show. I love Aiden Hutchinson. Love him. We're going to go my honorable mention here. I really like Kyron Williams from Los Angeles. Kyron
made a Pro Bowl this year.
He made a Pro Bowl.
He played 12 games.
He had 3 touchdowns this weekend against the Giants, and he's carrying that Rams team right now. I mean, the Rams are the Puka Nakua's been playing really well. Cooper Kupp had a touchdown this weekend.
Also Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron Williams, he's carrying the Rams right now. And if anybody had Kyron Williams on their fantasy team, sure, he's carrying your ass too. So
I have him a couple of
you
months.
suck this year, but
I did suck this year.
yeah, Kyron Williams, he was definitely a good get this year, and he's been the Rams' offense. He's playing very, very good. I think he kind of came out of nowhere a little bit, but he played good last year. I'm not gonna say he came out of nowhere, but he had a little injury issue this year, and then was able to resurrect his season a little bit. So Kyron Williams definitely gets a thumbs up from me this week.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement there. I do say I sucked at fantasy football this week, but I just want to say I was one juggle Jamar Chase drop from winning that game, making the playoffs, and my points total throughout the postseason, I would have won our championship. So, bite me. That's a high scoring both rounds of the playoffs. Missed it by a game.
I scored the season low in the championship.
I did see that
this year. I scored my season low in the championship when everybody decided to get me 5 points. Josh Allen was the only one that did anything decent for me, and then
put 262
the whole way through the league, it was the whole way down my roster. I started the wrong kicker because for some reason I had 2 kickers on my roster at the end of the season. Yeah, I had Butker and Koo. Last week I started Butker when Koo had 19 points.
I did see that.
And Butker got me 1 point, and this week I started Butker instead of Koo, or I started Koo instead of Butker. And it was the opposite. Yeah. So I obviously can't read kickers. I don't know why I had 2 of them on my roster to begin with, but I think Koo had a little injury designation. And I was trying to just be safe and have a good kicker on my roster, but third Kelsey brother didn't do very good in fantasy this week.
Jake Browning to Ja'Marr Chase juggle catch. That game they both went off, and that cost me. That was the second highest scoring game that game, and I lost by a point.
Yep. Good thing fantasy's over.
Yeah. It's a rough one.
If we are going to talk, if you don't mind, I'd like to put one more person in the zone player. But this person's not a player. It's a coach. Congratulations to Jonathan Gannon for going back into Philly and beating Philly.
Whooping that
ass. And making Philly question everything about what's going on with them because they lost to the Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon. I think the Eagles were they were having issues the last couple weeks, but I think this game kind of put them in panic mode a little bit.
I think this put the fans in a panic mode because the fans were kind of hanging on the Cards beating the shit out of the Cowboys earlier in the year.
Yep.
Internet got real quiet after the Cards came in there and put it on them as well.
Yeah, the Cards, I think they'll be okay. I think they just got to build a little bit. They have a lot of gaping holes in their roster. They'll figure it out. Yeah,
they definitely
figure it out. They'll be. I can definitely see them, unless Marvin Harrison's sitting there at 4 when they pick,
I think
or 3 or 4.
They're at 4.
If Marvin Harrison's there, I think you have to take him. I think he's the pick. But
I think they end up.
If Marvin Harrison's gone by the time they're up to pick, I say trade. Collect some picks for next year.
Yeah, I think Marvin Harrison's there, so it's I think whether at 3 or 4, I think he's there.
Yeah.
I think if they end up at 3, they have to have a strong consideration on trading that pick.
Yeah.
Even if Harrison is there,
yep.
to look at a quarter. Yeah. Somebody's going to pay a ransom to come up and probably take Jaden Daniels or Jake May or
that's
Drake
another
May.
situation. They can move down 1 spot or 2 spots and still land their guy. Why not?
Yeah. They're in a solid spot if Harrison is the way they want to go.
Yeah.
But let's get to our in the red player for that. What that is a player who just sucked, who stunk it up, didn't get it done. Not good enough this week. For me, this one hurts because this is my boy, and it's Travis Kelce. I'm coming at you, Travis, looking right at you. I don't know if Taylor's in your head. I know she's an Eagles fan, but 3 catches, 16 yards. It's a rough one. Need some more at you.
You suck.
That's a tough one for me.
That's personal for me.
I love Travis.
That's personal for me because I was relying on you in fantasy this week, and you just had to do it. I like Jason better.
I still like Travis better.
Love you, Travis. I do like Jason better though. Jason Kelce's my favorite player in the league.
He's up there.
So we're going my in the red players. I kind of have a twofer here. It's all going to stay in the state of North Carolina. My first one, if we're talking player, is Bryce Young. Because Bryce Young has stunk up the bed this year. Pretty bad. I mean, the Carolina Panthers are very bad. Bryce Young doesn't look like he knows how to play quarterback. But, I mean, that could also be because he has a JV offensive line blocking for him, and he has middle school receivers running routes. But besides Adam Thielen's played pretty damn solid for them.
I don't mind Jonathan Mingo either, but...
Yeah,
definitely not enough weapons. There for sure.
He's not getting it done. I think the reason he's my in the red player this week, you got to be looking. The Panthers have to be looking at their team, and the Bears having the number 1 pick this year, and they have. I mean, if you put Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud in the draft this year with Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels, I think all 3 of those guys go before Bryce Young. And
I think
C.J.
2
Stroud.
of them for sure.
Yeah. I think the Panthers have to be looking at themselves like, why didn't we trade? Why didn't we trade back last year and pick somebody else? We were more than a quarterback away. I understand you've got to take your guy. Like, if you think Bryce Young's your guy, you got to take him. And like, you obviously need a quarterback. I don't think they could have walked into the season with Andy Dalton as a starting quarterback. They probably would have won more games, if I'm being completely honest. But
honestly, I don't know if you put Pat Mahomes on this team and they're doing much more than they are.
Yeah. They're definitely, and that's why I think in last year, like, they were more than just a quarterback away.
Yeah,
and like, you knew this draft coming up. I think everybody could have saw last year that this draft coming up was going to be the draft to get a quarterback.
Yeah, and even looking at obviously, I don't know if Jaden Daniels was quite so high coming into the start of the year. He obviously
the Heisman campaign definitely.
Yeah, he showed vast improvement throughout the year. But even past that, and some of the guys who decided to go back, who could have been in this class. It was going to be a very deep class. The next two draft classes have a lot of talent at quarterback coming out. But I think that's a lot to do with David Temper and just not having the foresight to let the guys you hire do the job.
Yep.
Like Temper, obviously you made a shit ton of money in all kinds of other aspects of life, but you hire these guys to do a job, and I mean he's been there 5 years, 6 years, and they've went through 4 or 5 head coaches.
Yeah,
like it's you can't build a bad roster in a year with constant change, and now I think you're in a situation where who the hell takes that job?
Yeah, and I think he just doesn't understand what it takes to be an NFL owner. I really don't, because I mean you can't build an NFL team in a year. It's never going to happen.
Very rarely.
No, you need 3-4 years of you need to, first of all, you need to pick the right quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have the right head coach at the job, and you got to have 3 or 4 years of just good player development, drafting your guys, building a structure and a
you got to build a culture.
Yeah, you got to build a culture. I mean, Dan Campbell is he's a shining light on building a culture.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody made fun of him when he got hired as a coach. He said he was going to bite somebody's fucking kneecap off. Well, guess what? I mean, they're fucking 11 and 4? 11 and 5. Like they embody their culture, and I think the Panthers don't have a culture. I think this is a problem that the Broncos have had in years past. I think there's a couple teams in the league where we can go here and talk and analyze every team that has culture issues, but there are a lot of teams with culture issues, and I think Carolina is number 1 on that list.
I think it is by a long shot, and there's no patience there. I get you want to win.
Yeah.
Everybody in the league wants to win, but you gotta understand what you have. You have to have some self-awareness to look at your roster and be like, all right, we need some work.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's there.
Yeah, I think it's like you just asked me this question, but I don't know who would want to take that job. If I'm Ben Johnson, who's probably
not a chance,
he's probably the best candidate this year. I would stay away from Carolina. I would stay. Yeah, I think.
But I don't think either one.
No, I think your top 2 candidates. Obviously, it's going to be a big question if Jim Harbaugh comes out. But if I'm Harbaugh, if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm staying far the fuck away from that job.
Absolutely.
I mean, that job has...
Unless you paid me some obscene amount of money, I think that's the only way you're getting anybody to go there anybody, any reputable.
Yeah. Do you know who has that job written all over his forehead, in my opinion?
No, because I can't think of anybody.
Eric Bieniemy. The guy who has wanted a head coach job and has gotten passed over so many fucking times. But I could see a guy like Bieniemy taking that. I can see a guy like a Lovie Smith taking that job.
Lovie Smith feels like a fall guy to go there for a year and fail.
I think that job is a fall. It's a fall guy job. Like, I don't think a guy that knows their worth and knows what they're doing is going to want to take that job. I really don't. I think Ben Johnson is being advised to stay away from that job because everybody knows he is the hottest young coaching candidate in the league right now. I mean, I wouldn't. If I'm him, I'm not taking that job.
I think you're set up to fail, and gonna be a first-time coach, in my opinion. I don't think you have anybody with NFL experience.
Why would you
come in and coach that?
Yeah. Why would you? I mean, and if you look at the landscape of the upcoming season, it's not like, oh, hey, we suck this year. We're gonna have a first-round pick to play with this year. They don't.
Yeah.
Like, that has to be the worst possible job that you can have in the NFL right now. Like, as far as a head coach. And I don't think there's been a worse job in the league in quite some time.
I don't want to say there's a bad job in the NFL, but that feels like a bad job in the NFL.
It feels, because, I mean, you have the bad structure, and kind of going off of that, my second hand of the In the Red player this week was David Tepper. The man was throwing
drinks
on fans. Like, it doesn't get any worse than that as a freaking owner. Like, why the hell would you want to play for that guy, or why the hell would you want to coach for that guy?
The fan's about to get paid, though.
Yeah. I'd fucking
$300,000 fine.
Yep, I'd say he spit on me too.
Oh yeah, broken back, slipped on a piece of ice.
Yep. My neck, my back. Yeah, fuck David Tepper. I think
he's bad.
I love what's happening. Like, I hate it for the players. I hate it for Bryce Young, but I love what's happening to him in Carolina.
Yeah, I really like Adam Thielen. Like, it really shocks me that Adam went there. Like, I mean, he was a free agent. He could go where he went. Obviously, he goes there.
I think he knew he was going to get. He was going to be the guy there.
I'll agree. I think he was going there to be the guy again.
Because he was the guy. He was the guy in Minnesota, and Justin Jefferson comes in, and he's not the guy anymore. And I think he just wanted to be the guy again.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think there's any other team in the league he could have went to and been the guy, unless he went maybe
New England,
Chicago,
Chicago.
Arizona.
He could have had a good role in Chicago. I think.
So, I mean, he could have. There's a couple places he could have went, but like, that was the gaping hole where he was 100% no questions asked the guy.
Yeah.
Because if you go to another place, he can be quite. You go to New England, he can be compared with Smith-Schuster. You go somewhere else, like, he can be compared with other guys. Nobody comparing him to anybody in Carolina.
No.
Like,
Jonathan Mingo's decent, but
they need a lot of help. They need Bobby Boucher in there to come out of the woodwork. They need a lot of help. I would not want to be a Carolina Panther. If I was a Carolina Panthers fan right now, I'd take up a new team application. So
I'd be finding Luke Kuechly and asking him to come back and coach a team.
100%. 100%. But yeah, that's mine. Did you have any other?
Yeah, I did, and mine is Mike McDaniel. Obviously, a big time primetime game. You get blew out. You make the decision to still have your starters out there after the Ravens had already benched their starters. Yeah. Which, I mean, that's kind of, for me, if the opposite team has put the dogs away and we're playing our backups, you make the same decision. If you're still going to run a ones-on-ones, I get it. Shit happens. You know, it's a freak injury. But they pulled the reins back, and he didn't. He was still trying to run the ones out there on defense, and obviously lose Chubb. Yeah, obviously got blew out in that game as well.
Definitely hurts them.
It does. I think that takes the Dolphins from a legitimate contender in the NFL to first round exit.
Very well possible.
I don't think they have the defense.
Very well possible.
I think they're too banged up on defense. Chubb was the last straw, kind of on defense for me. I don't really think they have a chance now.
Yeah, I can definitely see it, but they're building a good culture over there too. If we were just talking about culture, I think they definitely have a good culture over there. Mike McDaniel seems to be a real good head coach, but
did you see him chirping Dan Marino?
Yeah,
we coming for your records.
Yep.
I did like that.
Yeah.
I do like McDaniel as a coach going forward, but I just don't think that was
a questionable decision. It's obviously something he's going to have to learn from.
Yeah, so, yeah. I think given that decision next time, he'll make a different one.
All right.
But that'll do it for in the zone players, in the red players there. In the red player guys, only 1 week left. Get it done next week.
Yep, gotta get it done. Not you, David Tepper. Fuck you.
Yeah, David Tepper. I don't know if you're getting it done next week. But all right, we're gonna move on to a little NFL scouting here. Kind of run you through our top 5 quarterbacks. How you want to do this? You want to do a 5 to 1, 1 to 5?
Don't matter to me. Whatever you want.
Let's go 5 to 1.
Let's go 5 to 1. That sounds. Then we can have the drum roll for number 1.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be number 2 because once we get the number 2, we know who we have it.
Yeah, I think we are. We do have some similarities at the top.
Yeah. I think number 5 we're not going to agree on personally, but
I'll let you start. Who's your 5?
My number 5 is J.J. McCarthy. And I found out this week that my wife apparently loves J.J. McCarthy, and she's watched one game of his. She loved how he beat Alabama, and now she's a fan. And now she wants J.J. McCarthy to be the quarterback of the Broncos. I like J.J. McCarthy. I think Jim Harbaugh kind of maybe reached a little bit saying he's the best Michigan quarterback ever.
That's a bold statement. Well, maybe in college.
Yeah,
maybe in college.
Maybe in college. I mean, Brady obviously wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't crazy good in college. Like I don't think he was.
No, I mean he lost to Drew Henson, obviously.
But McCarthy,
Sure,
I think McCarthy's
Bears.
a winner. He's won a lot of games. I mean, you're going into the NFL. What coaches want? Guys that have experience, guys that have won games. He's athletic. He can move. He can throw. I mean, dude has a good arm. Had a couple questionable throws against Alabama. But I think in this draft with these quarterbacks that are here, I think McCarthy he's solid. I think he just sneaks into number 5 for me. Once I go through my list, I'll say who I think he sneaked above, and I think the guy he snuck above is probably going to be your number 5 or probably bottom of your 5. So
yeah. So my thoughts on JJ McCarthy quick. I think he's Paxton Lynch, bud. I do. He throws a fastball, but if he doesn't have his fastball, there's not a whole lot of touch on that arm. He's
Paxton
a very
Lynch,
one-dimensional arm talent.
I don't agree with that.
You cannot.
I know you like.
He throws a great fastball.
Yeah, we've been friends a long time, and I know I was obsessed with Paxton Lynch when he came out, but that guy literally could not figure out how to throw a touch. I think McCarthy's going to be a system guy who's going to be a plug it and play it. I think he'd be good for a guy like Sean Payton, a coach like that.
He can go back too, can he?
I believe so.
Yeah, I don't think he's officially declared.
But yeah, I think he's going to play for a guy that's going to call the play. It's going to put him in a successful offense. Like I'm not going to say he's a system quarterback, but you can plug him into a system like the quarterbacks or the coach is going to give him a system, and I think you'll be able to run your system pretty well.
Yeah, I don't question his intelligence as far as running the system. For me, it's just there's too many balls that it's a fastball or nothing. There's not a whole lot of touch to it.
He has to learn a little bit.
Yeah, so I honestly think he would be best served going back for a year if Harbaugh stays. Yeah. I think that's a big if Harbaugh stays.
I think Harbaugh's gone.
I think if he's going to go, it's this year.
I think Harbaugh is the new coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. If I had to put out a bold statement,
I think if they win the Natty, he goes.
You think? I would agree with that.
I think so.
I think he's gone regardless, but I think he's definitely gone if he wins the Natty.
Yeah, if he wins a Natty to Michigan, I think he'll call it a career there.
So you obviously don't agree with my number 5. So who's your number 5?
I don't, and I'll be honest with you. I'm going to go off my board here. The guy I initially had at 5 here, I'm going to bump up. I'm going to take Bo Nix at 5 here. Okay. For me, I think I see a little bit of C.J. Stroud-ish in Bo Nix's abilities and his arm talent, the way he moves in the pocket. The guy's a 5-year starter. He was very experienced, got a great arm, sneaky athlete. He's fairly mobile, can run, also can create. Not quite Caleb Williams creation, off a scramble drill, that kind of stuff. But he definitely can create. My biggest concerns on him: throws a lot of screen passes in college. Obviously, he threw 40 touchdowns. It's all pre bowl games here. He threw 40 touchdowns, 3 picks. That's incredible numbers as far as the stat goes. He's 6'2", 219, completed 77% of his passes. That's highest in the country.
Right.
It's tough to beat that. Over 4,000 yards for him this year.
I think if we're going off Bo Nix too, those stats you're talking, I think he definitely benefited off a very good offense, very good run game, very good receivers, good offensive line. I mean, they had a good thing going there, and if it wasn't for Washington and Michael Penix Jr., Oregon's probably a top 14. But
I agree.
Washington single-handedly stopped Oregon this year because of their offense was just a little bit more potent than what Oregon was.
Yeah.
I like Bo Nix. That was the guy I was saying was kind of like a 5A, 5B kind of guy for me. I think McCarthy just has a little bit more upside, I think, in the league. I think Bo Nix definitely He did really well with the team he had, the system he had, and I think McCarthy did too. But I think McCarthy just has a little bit more to offer as far as going pro and fitting in a pro system a little bit better.
See, I disagree. I think Bo Nix has more upside there. I actually think Bo Nix can be a better NFL quarterback than he was in college. I think he was a great college quarterback.
I think for both, they have to land in the right spot.
I agree.
Because I think it can vary. Both of those quarterbacks could very easily have their careers ruined by going to the wrong team. And I mean that's like that for a lot of like that for a lot of quarterbacks.
It is.
I think
I think there's a realistic chance that Denver is in on Bo Nix in the first round.
100%. I think Bo Nix. I think Denver's in on Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy. I really do, because I think they both fit Denver's offense and what Sean Payton's trying to do. And when I was talking about that coach that McCarthy needs, like guy that'll put him in a system to succeed, and just kind of let him do his thing, call the play, and put him in that position to succeed. I think Bo Nix and J.J. McCarthy both would benefit off Sean Payton. I think those are going to be Sean Payton's top two guys if we're looking for a quarterback in the first round. McCarthy, I think there's a good chance he slips and goes in the second round.
Yeah, McCarthy.
I think McCarthy's probably second round. I think Bo Nix could be that guy that sneaks into the first round.
Yeah, I think Bo Nix is a first round quarterback. I do, whether it's at 14 or wherever Denver goes, or if somebody trades back up late in the first round just to get that fifth year.
My top four that I have here, I think, are all locks to go in the first round, in my opinion. I think all four of them will go in the first round. I think Bo Nix is the first. I like McCarthy a little bit better. I think Bo Nix is the one that could potentially be that fifth one that hops in. I really don't think there's a chance McCarthy's a first round pick.
I think
McCarthy is a early second round pick, early to mid second round pick.
Yeah. I think I probably have him late.
I agree with you.
Second,
I think Bo Nix could potentially be Denver's guy in the first round if they decide to.
I do too. It feels like a good fit for me. Things that I think he needs to work on. His footwork at times is spotty. He gets the kind of happy feet a little bit at times. And his progression. He doesn't. If his first read's there, he's great. Anticipation, throws with anticipation, great. When he starts to get to his third, fourth reads, it's not quite there as far as that goes. And his pocket toughness, sometimes he'll float the pocket when he doesn't need to. So just stay in there.
And that's been a big question mark in Denver this year. Russell Wilson's leaving the pocket early when he doesn't need to. So does Sean Payton go for a guy like that, or does Sean Payton want a guy that stands confidently in the pocket like McCarthy does, or like a Michael Penix? So.
I mean, speaking of Penix is my four.
Penix is also my four.
I'll be honest. When I first did scouting, he was my 5, but he definitely bumped me up a spot after that performance in the semifinal game.
Yep. I think Michael Penix has elite arm talent. Like his arm talent is absolutely elite. I think this guy
arm strength is elite for sure.
I think this guy, if this guy doesn't tear his ACL
twice
ever, I think we're talking about him being in the conversation for number one.
Yeah, and that's the biggest question mark you have with Penix is his injury history.
I think that's why he's 4, right? That's why he's 4.
Yeah, that's why I had him initially at 5. Yeah. But the way he played in that game, it's just you couldn't deny the talent for me. He had 4 injuries. He's had 2 ACLs. He has a lot of injuries, a lot of scar tissue on the knees for being as old as he is. But he has played a lot of ball. Yeah. He's 5-year starter as well. The arm strength is absolutely elite. He throws a perfect deep ball.
Yeah, and I mean he's been throwing to NFL caliber wide receivers.
Yeah,
like he has that. I mean Washington's had a very good offense. I mean they score 30 points consistently. Like
if they would have McMillan all year too, that would have been even scarier.
I think if we're gonna do this and talk fits too, because I think we were talking fits a little bit with the last 2 guys. I think Michael Penix Jr. fit wise for me is Minnesota.
It's funny you say that because my comp on him is a better Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
As I see a lot of Teddy Bridgewater in there, left-handed guy as well.
I think Kevin O'Connell would love having this guy throw to Justin Jefferson. Like he's accurate, he has a big arm. Jordan Addison stretching the field. Like I think Michael Penix Jr. fits very well in Minnesota. I think O'Connell will get that offense running right. But my only concern with Penix is his knee okay? That's
it was good all year, so I don't know if I have concerns. Is it okay? It's just what is the long term look on that? obviously, I think Penix has elite anticipation.
Yeah.
He throws that
He
ball
understands.
before.
He understands the game.
He's a very, very smart quarterback. He's great pre-snap. I think he's probably the best pre-snap quarterback in this draft class.
I don't think the NFL. I don't think the NFL is
defense.
going to be as fast for him as it will be with some other quarterbacks.
No.
I think it's the game. The game's pretty slow to him.
Yes.
Like
he definitely understands what the defense is trying to do against him. At times, he struggled with a little bit of touch placement.
Yep.
Not so much inaccurate, but where he's putting the ball kind of thing, which I think that'll come along for him.
And the thing is, I mean, he's what? He's been in college for 6 years. He's a captain.
Yeah.
He's a 4 or 5 year starter. Like he has the experience. Just like Nix, just like McCarthy, they have the experience. I think he's going to be very good in the NFL. I just hate left-handed quarterbacks, but
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
If this guy was playing for my favorite team, I wouldn't be mad at all because I think
I really like Penix.
I think he's very good.
I think he's got the moxie, the swagger to him.
Yeah.
I think people like playing with him. I think he got the most out of Roma Dunze and McMillan and them guys.
I think he played Roma Dunze into getting a higher draft slot.
I do too. I really like Roma, though. I really do, which we'll get into probably next week when we do our receivers here. But yeah, I mean, 6'3", 215, gets the ball out pretty quick. You know, average 2.69 per second there. Going back to Bo Nix, he's at 2.44, which is incredibly quick, but a lot of that is because of the screen game.
Yeah, and I remember I think I sent you the video. I think it was yesterday or today.
That was today.
Because a lot
him playing as a right-handed quarterback.
I don't like left-handed quarterbacks. I think it looks weird. It looks like he's getting the ball out a lot slower. But there was a video we saw, and it flipped the screen, and it made it look like Penix was a right-handed quarterback.
Yeah.
That ball got out fucking quick.
Yeah.
Like he looked normal, and if he was a right-handed quarterback, I think a lot of people would look at him different too.
Yeah, I would agree. I think his mechanics, just because it's left-handed, look unorthodox.
Yeah.
But I don't really know
it looks like Tua.
if they are.
Yeah.
I don't really know if they are unorthodox. Yeah. A lot of people say they are, but I think it's just because you're not used to seeing it kind of left-handed quarterback.
I mean, there's one left-handed quarterback in the league right now.
But yeah, I mean, I love Penix, and he his performance in that semifinal game was a massive, and I'm really pulling for Washington in the Natty.
Yeah, I am.
So I think he's got a chance to really put on a show out there.
Yeah. Then if we're gonna go up the list here, so my 3, the Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels.
I'm in agreement.
So I like Daniels. I think he definitely played his draft stock up a little bit this year. He's very athletic. He plays with good accuracy. He can move around. His ability to extend plays is probably better than any other quarterback in the league or in this draft this year.
His ability creates it.
I think he's definitely. I think he's going to be good at the next level. I think see how his durability holds up. He's a little skinny, so see if he can.
He's 210.
Take care of his body a little bit and learn how to slide when he takes off and all that stuff. So
yeah, that's my biggest knock on him is he's got to learn how to avoid the big hit.
Yeah.
But he is a dangerous runner. I mean, when he decides to run, I mean he's Lamar Jackson for me. I honestly think that's the perfect comparison to him. I don't think he's quite as explosive as Lamar, but he's damn close.
There's not a lot of quarterbacks. He's explosive as Lamar.
He's damn close though. I mean, the guy's played 5 years. He's played in 2 different conferences. He's seen a lot of different schemes.
He
a lot
won
of different.
In the SEC. It's always hard to win in the SEC.
I mean, obviously, would have loved to see him play in that bowl game. Obviously, he didn't. Neighbors and Thomas and them did. So it's kind of would have liked to see him go out with them guys.
Yep.
Does seem to hold the ball a little bit. You know, his average time to throw was 2.91. So that's a little long for me on that. So I would like to see him get the ball out a little quicker. But his ability to create is a big part of that.
Yep.
And he really focused in the last 2 years on ball security. The guys threw 7 picks the last 2 seasons.
Yep.
2 seasons, not last year. The last 2 seasons, he threw 7 picks.
I think that's a big reason why he won the Heisman too. He definitely takes care of the ball. He makes things happen. He looks fun. He's fun to watch.
He is.
I mean, that's a big thing with the Heisman Award. You got to be fun to watch, you ain't winning. So,
I mean, he accounted for 50 touchdowns this year.
Yeah,
that's a crazy number. 40 in the air, 10 on the ground.
Yep.
71% completion rating.
Where do you think this young man ends up?
Or in the top 4.
So I have him going to New England. I think that's a good spot for him. I think that's no matter who's the coach. I think can build off of him. It's not like they have bad, like, their roster's not terrible.
It's not great.
Not great. It's not terrible.
It's not overwhelming. It's not a bad roster, but it's not an exciting roster. It
works.
They have a lot of guys, but no like guy. You know what I mean? Like they don't have that
and that's
elite
just been
guy.
the Bill way. Bill's never had guy. Bill had average guys and made him the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, he had Brady, and Brady made a lot of guys better around him for sure.
I think Jaden Daniels can go into that team. I think we can all agree is very boring on offense.
It is.
I think he can go into that team and make that team exciting again. So I think Jaden Daniels. I think that's where he ends up. If New England's picking at 4, if New England's picking at 3, I think that's where he ends up. Because Arizona's not going to take him.
I think the only chance he doesn't end up in New England for me is if New England wins this week, falls to 4, and somebody trades to 3, which I think is a very real scenario.
I can see that. Yep.
If
somebody trades up above New England to get him.
I just don't know what New England's going to be as far as the GM wise goes. I don't know who's going to be running the team. I don't think it's Bill.
I can see a team. We were just talking about this team for my fit for Penix, but I could see the Vikings being a team that goes up and tries to get. I mean, it's going to be a big jump, but it all depends on what the coach likes. Does Kevin O'Connell want a guy that's a little bit more mobile running his offense that can still do everything else? Now he's not going to have the arm talent Michael Penix has, but he's mobile and he can still be able to extend plays a little bit. Does a guy like the Vikings go up and get him? Does a team like the Falcons go up and get him?
Yeah, the Falcons were the team I'd be concerned about.
I think the Falcons. I think he'd be a very good fit for the Falcons as well.
Yeah,
but a big question mark with the Falcons: if Justin Fields is on the trade block, I think Justin Fields is a Falcon.
I could definitely see Justin Fields being that.
Yeah.
It feels like that's a Falcons move. I feel like the Falcons like that. Going back to the Mike Vick days, always I feel like they like that runner style quarterback.
And their offense kind of fits for that right now.
Yeah,
they have a lot of explosive guys on offense. It would make them even more explosive.
Yeah, with the explosion they have there.
I like Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels definitely played his way into number 3 this year.
I do too.
If we would have did this list here a couple months ago, Michael Penix would have been my number 3, which Michael Penix is still close number 4, but just because of his elite arm talent, and
Jaden's definitely the better athlete for sure. The arm strength and arm accuracy,
two different players.
Is definitely different. It's definitely which style do you like?
Yep.
And I think if the Ravens win the Super Bowl this year, I think that's going to help Jaden Daniels.
Absolutely. I think if we're in getting out of Jason Daniels, you were just talking about depends on what style you like more. I think our 1-2 or 1A 1B here kind of fits that mold. Just who do you prefer more? What body type do you like more? What quarterback? I think Caleb Williams kind of played himself out a little bit of the guaranteed. No matter who's picking, he's going number 1.
I still think he goes 1. I do.
I could see it. I mean, it all depends on who's picking it too. We don't know who's going to be taking that pick yet, so it's kind of hard to say. Obviously, somebody's picking Caleb Williams or Drake May. But just curious, who do you have at number 2?
For me, it's Caleb Williams.
Yeah. And we're in agreement there.
It is, and this was tough for me. Obviously, my college team's SC, so I watched a lot of Caleb Williams play this year, and for me, it's the lack of anticipation.
Yeah.
He throws to receivers that are open, and that's really about it. He doesn't really anticipate the throw very well. Doesn't stay in the pocket. Likes to get out. Likes to try to create. He does have elite level of creation ability for sure. The issue for me here at putting him at 2 is the potential, and I hate that word. I really truly do. But his ceiling is high. I mean, he's probably the most gifted quarterback we've seen since Mahomes.
Yeah.
I get Mahomes isn't all that old, but Mahomes is my comp on him. I think there's a lot of Mahomes to him. I don't think he has quite the arm talent that Mahomes did, but it's close.
Yeah.
Decision making is where I really struggle with him. That Notre Dame game, he looked god awful through 3 picks. He only had 5 picks on the year, but 3 of them were in that game. He had 11 rushing touchdowns this year, so that's nothing to anticipate there. He's inconsistent as far as in his accuracy goes, and his footwork is suspect.
Yeah.
Does tend to hold the ball too long, I think, as well. But I think a lot of that is he's the best athlete on the field in college football by far. So he tries to create too much, play maybe a little too much hero ball for me. and out of structure though, he's special. Yeah. When the play breaks down, he's definitely special in that. A lot of his big plays came off of out of structure plays.
Yeah, I think you said it for me. Is one of my biggest takeaways with him. The downside is him trying to play hero ball. That hero ball that he plays in college against some of these shit teams he played in college is not going to work in the NFL. Like he's running around for I forget what, I think it was the first or second game of the season. He ran around for.
Oh yeah, made like 4 dudes miss and threw a touchdown. Yeah,
and
it's great.
and had a touchdown at the end of it. That isn't going to work in the NFL. It's not going to be something. So I think him trying to be the hero is going to be his downfall. And another thing I really don't like about Caleb Williams is the attitude. I think is he kind of when things aren't going his way, it seems like he kind of shuts down a little bit. And like when you're taking a guy at number 1, especially if you are the Chicago Bears and you're getting ready to move on from Justin Fields, like you want that guy, you want your guy to have the it factor and be like, know that he's the guy, he's confident in being the guy. Like, is Caleb Williams that guy? Like we saw Caleb Williams lose to Utah
every year,
never beat Utah, and like. You can tell when he played Utah this year. You can tell he never beat Utah.
Yeah,
they're in his head. So I just don't think Caleb Williams has the maturity over Drake May. And as far but like you said, the tools are there. Like the dude is athletically gifted and can be. Yeah. We can be talking about him as being one of our top quarterbacks of our generation behind Mahomes.
Yes.
But, in the same sense, he could also be a very big flop if it doesn't work out. I think he's the big question mark. And do I think he's going to go number 1? Yes. I think no matter who's picking, he is going to go number 1. But there might be a team that says, you know what, like I like Drake May. So, and I like Drake May personally. If I were a team picking number 1, that's who I'd want. I think which I know this is never going to happen, but if my personal favorite team, the Denver Broncos, picked at number 1, that's who I'd want. But I like Drake's body size. He's a bigger guy. Mm-hmm. He is athletic for being a bigger guy. His pocket presence is very good. I think my comp for Drake May is a more athletic Justin Herbert.
That's what Justin Herbert. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Justin Herbert.
I think they play very similar, but he's more athletic. You don't see Justin Herbert taking off and extending plays like. I mean, obviously, May doesn't extend a play as well as Williams does, but he has the availability too. He can do it. It's not like he can't do it.
So as far as obviously, I Drake May at 1 as well for me as well. My biggest thing with Caleb Williams though, just to finish up to Caleb, is he's very boom or bust for me. Yeah. He's either the next coming of Jesus. Or he's
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, and out of there. I don't really see him being a serviceable guy for 12, 15 years. I
don't think he has the maturity to do that. I really don't. Yeah, if he's not the guy, if he's not him, he's not going to want to be in the league.
Yeah,
like I think he's like I said, I think that's part of just his maturity level and his composure and everything. I just don't. I don't see if he's not good, he's not going to sit around and be a backup. I don't.
Yeah, so. I think there's just so much boom or bust with him for me. I like Caleb. I do, and I do think he hits. I at the end of the day, I still have him ranked at 2.
Yeah, I think he definitely played his way out of.
Nobody's seen 7 and 5 out of him this year.
Yeah, and I remember at the beginning of the season he said he'll only come out and play for a certain amount of teams.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That was a bad look for me.
Only certain teams he'll play for, and he wants part ownership of whatever team he's playing for. Like it just to me, you're a guy that hasn't really I'm sorry, you won a Heisman, yeah. Like you won some games in college, yeah. You haven't done shit.
Yeah,
you haven't played a game. You haven't played a game in the league. Like, I don't think you're in a position to make demands. I mean, obviously, there have been quarterbacks, Elway, Manning, said, I'm not playing for you for certain teams. But, this guy gave a list of 5 teams that he said he wanted to play for.
Yeah, and then if the 1 or 2, when it comes draft time, if one of those teams aren't who picks him, because a lot of the teams that he picked aren't picking at the top of this draft, does he play for him?
Does he go back to – that's another question for you.
Once you declare.
Does he go back to college?
I don't think he does. He didn't play in a bowl game, and I don't think you. If you don't play in a bowl game, for me, I have a hard time believing you're going.
And I think he's hurt himself enough this year that he's not going to go back to college and hurt himself more because he hurt himself enough, but I think he's still the number one pick.
Yeah, so do I.
So I think if he goes back to college, he might hurt himself a little bit more. Especially if you don't notice much of a change in his game.
I mean, there's a lot of those receivers are gone. Obviously, Taj Washington's gone. Mario Williams is in the portal.
Yeah.
Brennan Rice graduated. He'll be in the draft as well.
Yeah.
So he's losing a lot of his weapons. Marshawn Lloyd's gone as well. So the pretty much almost that whole offensive weapons core is gone at SC. So I don't see him a scenario where he goes back. I do think he goes one. I don't think it matters who picks there.
Yeah, and I think depending on who's picking, I can definitely see a team liking Drake May more. I really can.
I do.
I still think Williams is number one pick, but I have a gut feeling a team looks at the makeup of both of them and says, you know what, this is the guy which is the guy I want leading my team for the next 15 years. Is it the guy that we think might give up when shit gets bad, or the guy that's like a little bit more composed, and they're kind of two completely different quarterbacks too. I mean, you put Williams in more of a West Coast style offense, and Drake May's going to be in more of a spread style offense.
Yeah, so, for me, my comp on Drake May was Herbert. He's definitely got a pro build. He's 6'4", 230. He's a big dude. He's got a lead arm talent.
Yeah.
And he's really good anticipation. Yeah. I have Gunslinger wrote down here too. So he can fire the ball.
He can throw the ball.
But with that too, you get the plus and minuses of being a gunslinger. He does put the ball in harm sometimes. He does force plays. He has a tendency to make a bad play worse. If a play breaks down on him, he'll try to force something. He did throw 9 picks this year. I do have him as a plus athlete. I think his running ability, his athletic ability is Daniel Jones-ish.
Yeah.
Is kind of where I see him there. He doesn't have great accuracy. A lot of his issues for me this year was pre-snap. I don't think he reads the defense super great at this point. Not to say I don't think he can. He doesn't read the pass protection all that well for me.
Right.
So he'll tend to not move the protection to where he needs to, which I think he can definitely learn and grow from there. But 24 touchdowns this year, that's a little scary for me. I would like to see more production out of him as far as the stats go. Obviously, playing at North Carolina, I don't think he's playing with the elite level of talent though that Caleb Williams or even Michael Penix or those guys or Bo Nix and them guys were playing with.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tez Walker's an NFL quarterback or NFL receiver for sure, I think. But beyond Tez was only there for half the year, and then he got hurt, got knocked out there for that one game. He had the eligibility issue or whatever. So maybe those numbers would have been a lot better with some better talent there for sure. But I have Justin Herbert on Drake May, and if you end up with Drake May, I don't think you're upset by any means.
I like I said, if I was making the pick, I'm picking Drake May. I like your comparison to the Daniel Jones and Justin Herbert mix. Because like I said, I think he's a more athletic Justin Herbert. So because Justin Herbert, he can go if pocket breaks down, play isn't there, he can go get you 5 yards and get you a first down.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones will have 8 to 10 carries
he's
a game.
A sneaky athlete.
Yeah, I like that with Drake May. I think Drake May, the game will slow down for him. I think Drake May could benefit to sitting a year. Obviously, you're getting taken that high. I don't think you're sitting. You're probably going to play right away. I can definitely see Drake May studying under somebody for a year and taking over the reins, especially like if he goes. I think Drake May ends up in Washington. I think when you're going to Washington, you might have a guy like Jacoby Brissett there that starts the season.
You could.
And I think that just half the season, I think Drake May benefits from it. Because I think we all know Washington ain't making the playoffs next year. So,
not unless something drastic.
Unless Drake May goes out and has a CJ Stroud type year.
Yeah. Which,
we
honestly,
also don't know who's going to be the head coach there this year. If they get an offensive-minded guy, like if a guy like Ben Johnson says, "I love Drake May," and takes the Washington job because
I think
of Drake
Bieniemy's
May.
still there. I think Bieniemy sticks around.
Yeah,
so I think he's a solid coach.
I think Bieniemy could be the dark horse for a head coach job there if Ron moves
Possibly.
on.
I can see Ron
moving
should.
on.
I think Ron should. I don't think Ron's all that great of a coach at this point in his career.
And I think Bieniemy, like you went out and got Bieniemy. I think you kind of have to give him another year. And I think the only way you get him another year is making him the head coach. So
yeah, I wouldn't be upset with that. I honestly think Drake May is a much better NFL quarterback than he is a college quarterback.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where I have him at.
Yeah.
And
there's been guys like that. I mean, there's been guys that are better NFL quarterbacks than they are in college.
Yes.
Like it just happens. Maybe just because of the way they play, the way the style of offense they thrive better in, and or maybe they get a coach in the NFL that just puts them in a better system to win.
Yeah, I think a lot of those does come down to the talent he plays around too. Obviously, you're going to go to the NFL where you're going to have. I mean, if he ends up in Washington, you got Scary Terry.
Yeah, Drake May doesn't have very good receivers in North Carolina.
No, I mean Tez Walker's solid, but again, he was only there a couple games this year. They didn't get to play a whole lot with him.
Like he goes to Washington, and you immediately have Scary Terry and Jahan Dotson.
Yep.
I mean that's pretty solid.
Yeah,
like,
he's never played with receivers.
And, and I think they'll like the receiver class is deep. They'll be able to get another guy. Like they have a good running back in Brian Robinson. Like that's a good solid guy.
Decent tandem there with Gibson still there. I mean Gibson's not nearly as good as Brian Robinson.
I mean I don't think Washington wouldn't scare me, especially they got new ownership now too. I think that team's kind of on the up and coming. I think it's that wouldn't be a bad team to go to. So I think that's where Drake May ends up, unless a team moves up above them to get Drake May. But I think Washington's sitting at number 2, unless Washington says, I fucking love Caleb Williams and I'll give you a first round pick to move up one spot. And I don't know.
Maybe. But I think even in that case, I think Drake May still goes 2. So I think they're a lock for 1-2. I really do. And I think Jaden Daniels is a lock for the top 4. Whether it's 3 or 4, probably 3.
I think Penix end up going top 15. I don't see Penix sneaking into the top 10. I think Penix is a 15 to 20 guy.
I think Penix could fall to the Broncos. I feel like that's a good fit for him there. Yeah. Him or Bo Nix there. But one person I have down the list here obviously got hurt. I think he's a great. He's not in my top 5 obviously, but he's a guy that I did want to give a little love to here. Was Jordan Travis. I think he's a great leader. I think a great locker room guy. He's a very good improviser. His footwork's really good. Can run pretty good. He's got really solid mechanics for me. I don't think the arm strength's quite there for me. Pocket awareness is questionable at times. A little bit overconfident in his arm. I think can be coached out of him. He's a little smaller. He's only 6'1". But I have Case Keenum as a combo on him. Yeah. I think he's very similar to that.
I like Jordan Travis. Like you said, he's a good locker room guy, definitely a good leader. I can see him going somewhere maybe with a quarterback, like either an aging quarterback or a quarterback that's kind of just not getting it done, and a guy where he'll sit for a couple years. I think Jordan Travis would definitely benefit. Like I think going to like somewhere like Seattle would be a good fit
Seattle
for him.
Would be a good fit for him. I think it's a day 3 pick.
Yeah,
maybe sneaks.
Might sneak into the third round. It depends on who. I mean, we got a lot of quarterback needy teams this year. I mean, like if the Bears decide they want a quarterback, you have the Bears, you have the Commanders, you have the Raiders, you have the Broncos. You have who else we got here? These quarterbacks. A team like the Rams could be a team for him. For Jordan Travis. I mean, Stafford's aging. Stetson Bennett's still in rehab, so who freaking knows what the hell's going on there.
Carson Wentz starting this week.
Carson Wentz is starting this week. A team like the Giants. I mean, the Giants are going to go quarterback at some point.
I think the Giants could be in play for a quarterback earlier than
another dark horse team. I think for Jordan Travis would be the Cleveland Browns. Is Watson getting it done? Is Watson going to be the guy there going forward? I think Watson ends up getting bought out of his contract at some point.
Can you get out of that contract? Is my question.
I mean, Denver's getting out of Russ's contract somehow.
Yeah, that wasn't fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's a bad contract. That's one of the worst trades of all time, I think.
100%.
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what they do. I don't know if we can get out of it, really, honestly.
All right. We'll get into the prospect scouting, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, well,
once we have more of a set in stone, we'll do some segments where obviously this
we'll get some mocks out.
Change. Yeah,
we'll get some mocks out once
Can't
the draft
wait for
orders.
mock draft season. Can't wait.
It's coming up. Yeah, probably next week. Next week or two, or get a mock draft 1.0 out. But next week we'll get into the receivers. We'll scout some receivers for you. You can kind of give us your thoughts.
Very good receiver class.
I love this receiver class.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I told you before we went on here. I think we have 5 guys in the first round. I really 5-6 guys in the first round.
I could see it. I wouldn't be shocked by it.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good receiver draft. Some big guys. I don't think we've seen a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. coming out as a receiver in a long time.
No, he's definitely the most polished receiver we've seen in a long time. But all right, let's put this bitch in the end zone. Let's go over our picks here for this week here.
See if we can't go 6-9 again.
Yeah, see if we can't go 6-9. Obviously, first game here, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Baltimore is 3.5-point underdogs. Is that right?
I think Baltimore gets it done at home.
I think too.
I think
actually.
what's going to end up happening is Mason Rudolph goes in there, shits the bed. Kenny Pickett comes back in and shits the bed. So I think I'm taking Baltimore against the points, against the spread.
I'm going to agree there as well. I like Tyler Huntley. I think they play to try to keep the Steelers out of the postseason there. Next one is Houston at Indianapolis, and I need the spread on this one.
I think Houston gets this done. I think you're looking up the spread here, but I think Houston's defense is going to come to play. I know they're in Indianapolis this week. I think Houston's defense, D'Amico's going to have them boys right this week, and I think Stroud has a good game in prime time. I think the Texans get it done. I think the Texans get in the playoffs.
Colts are 1+1.
Colts are +1.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans there.
I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think the Loud House will be rocking there. I think Pat McAfee and the boys will be making a scene down there. So yeah. I'll ride with Pat on this one. Give me the Colts.
I like C.J. Stroud. I think he gets it done. D'Amico Ryans is going to get it done.
We got Cleveland at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 4.5-point favorites.
And who would have thought we were going to have Joe Flacco?
Is Flacco playing this week?
No. Jeff Driscoll is playing quarterback for the Browns. So who would have thought we would have had a Week 18 game where Joe Flacco is resting?
That is true. Yeah, I don't think the Browns are playing many people. I don't think Jerome Ford's going to play a whole lot either.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals there.
I'm going to take the Bengals as well.
Just because you don't know who the Browns are playing. The Browns ain't playing for shit. They pretty much have the 5 seed locked, so they can't get any better than where they're at.
Yeah. We're in agreements there.
Yeah.
We got the Vikings at Detroit. Detroit is 3.5 points favorites.
Is Detroit playing their starters? Did you see anything about that this week?
I believe
they are, right?
they
they're playing
are
for a higher seed.
Yeah. I believe they are planning on playing.
Yeah, I like the Lions.
Yeah.
I think DC is going to go in there and bite some kneecaps off.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't see Detroit losing that game. 3.5 seems low.
Nick Mullins is playing quarterback for the Vikings this week, so.
Yeah, no, Detroit's solid against the run game too, so I don't think Ty Chandler and them guys will have a whole lot of.
Minnesota's a little bit of a dumpster fire here at the end of the season, not knowing what they're doing at quarterback.
Yeah, it's tough to just see what they're doing there. Where's Josh Dobbs go next year? Is another question too.
Who cares?
And the next one here, we got Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jacksonville is 3.5-point favorites. Is Trevor Lawrence playing this week?
I think if the playoffs are on the line, Trevor Lawrence better be out there.
Is he healthy? Is my question.
I think he's sat out of practice a little bit this week. If it was a regular season game in the middle of the season, he probably doesn't play. But I think he plays because of what's on stake. And give me the Jags.
I got the Jags as well.
Yeah, I think the Jags playoffs are on the line. Dougie P is going to make sure they get in.
We got the Jets at New England. New England is 2.5-point favorites.
Give me the Jets.
All right, you take the Jets. I'm gonna say New England. I don't.
You think New England's gonna win?
I do. As much as I don't want them to, they haven't played bad the last couple of weeks. A couple turnovers have really cost them. I really think this is Bill's last game, and I don't think there's a chance in hell Bill loses his last game to the freaking New York Jets.
Yeah. The team that he's completely dominated.
Yeah, I just don't see it. As much as I wouldn't mind seeing him lose and maybe try to move up to that 3 spot or to lock that 3 spot in, I guess. Give me the Pats. We got the Falcons at New Orleans. New Orleans are 3.5-point favorites.
I like New Orleans here. Being at home, playoffs are on the line. Like they need to win. Bucks win. I mean that kind of eliminates New Orleans, but I believe right or New Orleans still playing for a wild card spot. That 7 seat's still open. So I like New Orleans at home regardless. You never know what Falcons team's going to show up. The Superdome's going to be loud. So I think New Orleans sneaks into the playoffs. New Orleans was my pick in the beginning of the season for that division, which I think obviously the Bucks are in prime position to win it now. But I like New Orleans this weekend.
I can't find it. They're definitely still playing for the 7th seed. They got to win to get the 7th seed.
Yeah.
They need to win.
Yeah, if Bucks lose and they win the division, correct?
Yeah, if they win and the Bucks win, the Bucks lose, they get the win division. Yes.
Yeah.
With that being said, give me Atlanta.
I think Derek Carr shits the bed.
I don't really have.
What if old famous Jameis comes in there and eats a W?
I know if James is playing, maybe I would rethink that. But yeah, I don't really have a thought process to it. Just give me. I think it's a 3-point game, kind of either way.
Aren't the Falcons in a lot of 3-point games?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so 3.5. I'll take the points. I don't really have a good feel on that one either way. The old next up here, we get the Bucks at the Panthers. The Bucks are 5.5-point favorites. I'm taking the Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm not.
You
couldn't give me your money to bet on the Panthers, and I wouldn't bet them.
No. Definitely not.
That's only 5.5 too. I think Baker has a bounce back game there. I think he plays a lot better than he did last week. I think it's done. Next up, we got the Bears at the Pro Bowl-less Green Bay Packers.
Pro Bowl-less.
Which
Give
surprises
me the Chicago Bears.
I
think Justin Fields is playing for his job and does not want to leave Chicago. I think he plays good. I think he takes that momentum from last week and has a good game.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on the Packers or anything really the Packers have. They've been better than I thought they were going to be this year. But I said I took Justin Fields playing for his job last week. I'm a ride with it, so I'm a jump.
Do you think this is the week
Panthers
where, like, if Justin Fields plays good this week, they say, you know what, we're rocking with him?
I think he's going to keep trying to make an argument for it.
Yeah,
I really think it comes down to Justin Fields whether or not he'll take the little bit less money than what the market may say.
I agree.
And then we got the Denver Broncos at the Vegas Raiders.
Give me the Vegas Raiders. Vegas loves to spoil anything. Denver can't.
What are they spoiling? Denver's already eliminated.
No, they're spoiling Denver just being Denver. Like, they just like to beat Denver. That's what they do. They spoil Denver. So, Denver has a hard time playing against the Raiders.
They do.
But
they do.
In the same sense, who knows? Maybe they are going to spoil them, and maybe they're going to let Denver beat them. Because if Denver loses, they get a better draft spot.
They do.
Maybe they want Denver to draft higher on the board.
Yeah, but I think Aiden O'Connell's playing for a job, so I don't think you're going to really see that there. Obviously, Stidham's playing for trying to keep his NFL relevancy afloat.
Give me Vegas.
You take Vegas? All right, I'll take your team.
There we go.
I typically like Vegas more than you do, but
hold the coaster.
Well, give me Denver on the points. We get the Eagles at the Giants. The Eagles are 5.5-point favorites.
Eagles got to figure it out at some point. I think A.J. Brown has 200 yards this week. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there.
I don't think anybody's been more due. Like, our minds like to play tricks on us a lot and say, like, oh, this guy's due. This guy's due.
This was 7.5. I might think about the Giants just because the Eagles like to keep it close against shitty teams.
Yeah.
But 5.5, that's less than a touchdown. I'll take.
Give me the Eagles.
I'll take the Eagles with 5.5.
I think we have the Eagles by 10.
I'm thinking 7, but yeah, I'll take the 5.5 for sure. And then we got the Seahawks at the Cardinals. Seahawks are 3.5-point favorites.
The Seahawks are playing for a playoff spot, but I think the Cardinals are riding a bunch of momentum from beating the Eagles. I'm going to take the Cardinals. Take a little bit shot in the dark there and take the Cardinals at home.
I'm going to say Pete gets the boys right, and they come out firing on that one and get the dub. I don't think the Cardinals are at all that good. I think last week was a kind of a high emotional game. I think they have a hard time bouncing back from it.
I think the Cardinals are going to play themselves right out of a prime draft pick.
I think they're still picking 4, even if they win.
Yeah, but if they win, I think they can drop down to like 6, I believe, right? There are a lot of teams tied right in there.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of teams right around there, so I have to look at the tiebreakers and stuff for the seedings. But
give me the Cardinals.
All right, I'll take the Seahawks there. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the LA Chargers. The Chargers are 1.5-point favorites. I don't know who's playing for Kansas City.
Well, I know Mahomes is not.
Who is their back? I don't know who their backup is.
I think it was Blaine Gabbert, I believe.
It is Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine Gabbert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's he still in the league?
The Chargers are not good. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Taking the Chiefs and the points. Oh man, I don't know on this one. toss-up for me. I'm going to say Blaine Gabbert's a decent backup. He's a better backup than Easton Stick. Give me the Chargers. Or not the Chargers. Give me the Chiefs. I'll take the Chiefs. We got the Rams with Carson Wentz at the San Francisco 49ers. And Sammy Darnold. Sammy Darnold leading the boys.
Sammy Darnold versus Carson Wentz. I'm going to take Carson Wentz.
Taking Carson?
I'm taking Carson. You taking Sammy?
I'm taking Sammy. You know I'm taking Sammy. I like Sammy.
Boy. I knew you were going to. That's why I'm taking Carson.
I still think he's got a bad rap in the league. I still think he can play. Give me San Fran and the boys.
He looks a lot better in San Francisco than he did anywhere else.
And it's the first time he's had competent coaching and weapons.
Yeah. Adam Gase.
Adam Gase is horrible.
Best NFL coach ever.
Then we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Redskins, or I'm sorry, Washington, whatever the hell they are, Commanders now. I was going to say football team, that wasn't ready. That's the Commanders here.
What's the spread on that?
It is 13.5.
Washington covers the spread.
That's where
I think Cowboys win. Washington covers the spread. I think Washington gives them a little bit of an aneurysm.
It's in Washington. Dallas has not been good on the road. I'm gonna agree. 13.5 seems too much. I don't think Dallas is all that great. Washington is quite bad, but yeah, I'll take Washington in the points. And we got Buffalo at Miami, and Buffalo's a 3.5 point favorite.
I like Buffalo. I think Buffalo covers at 3.5 points. I think Buffalo's playing for something. I think Miami's a little bit defeated right now.
He was in my red player coach, whatever the hell he was last week. But I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon here, Mike. Let's get it going. I'll take the Dolphins in the 3.5. I don't know if the Dolphins win that, but I do think it's a close game. I think it's a 3-point game kind of deal. If it's not a 3-point game, I think Miami blows them out. I don't see a scenario where the Buffalo blows the Miami out. So I'll take Miami, and it wouldn't terribly shock me if Buffalo found a way to miss the playoffs here.
Yeah, I could see it. But I like Buffalo. I know you're a little lower on Buffalo than I am, but I like Buffalo.
I'm not. I actually really like Buffalo. Jordan Poyer is one of my favorite players in the league. I love Jordan. I love the defense there. Josh Allen not getting a Pro Bowl, it's a little shocking. Considering, can you tell me right now who is number 2 in rushing touchdowns in the NFL?
Josh Allen
and
Christian McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's 3.
There's somebody tied for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem Mostert.
No, Mostert's 1.
Mostert's 1. I was gonna say it. So Josh Allen's tied with somebody for 2. Not Lamar, is it?
Mm.
Who is it?
It's Jalen Hurts.
Jalen
Hurts.
Oh, yeah,
Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen
are
number 2 in the league in rushing touchdowns, and neither one of them are Pro Bowler.
I forgot about
the 1 yard touchdown runs.
It's just automatic.
Yeah, it is.
Automatic.
It is.
There's not a better play in football. It's like the
not when they do it.
The 92 percenters out there. I think you might need to rename your name to 94 percenters, maybe 95 percenters.
Yeah, I know early in the year it was closer to pushing a 93 this year, so it was actually up a little bit. So I don't know where it's at currently, but it's crazy that both of those two are number 2 in the league in rushing touchdowns, and neither one of them are Pro Bowlers.
And that play, I mean, the other you see teams trying to replicate it.
Doesn't work.
No, you don't, because the math just doesn't math right.
Yeah, the math doesn't math.
You don't have. Not every team has a quarterback that squats 600 pounds and the best center who ever played football.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
No,
like,
it
other teams try to do it, and it's just laughable. I get it now. If you're like Tom Brady made.
He was good at it.
Tom Brady was really good at it.
He was kind of good at like the sneaky sneak. Like he wasn't like, y'all know we're gonna run it, and he was good at finding that like little crevice, little hole there.
Another person who's also really good at it was Joe Flacco, because he's fucking 6'8".
Yeah, he's big.
Like,
dude.
Yeah,
big dude.
Like, yeah, big. All you gotta do is stretch out there, and you're getting it. So.
All right, well that'll wrap us up here. We'll see you next week for the playoff edition here. We're gonna do some receiver scouting next week for you as well.
I'm excited for the receivers.
I am too. It's probably my favorite one.
We like the receivers. But yeah, playoff football. We'll see. We'll talk about some of these matchups and who gets in, who's not in, and maybe talk some more draft.
Yeah, definitely.
Draft spots, because we'll see who's who's making the first 15 picks.
Yeah, some of the spots will be locked up here.
Yep.
We'll have a good idea on the rest of them as well. So we'll start getting into it here.
Mock
First
draft incoming.
mock draft probably in the next week or two here. I'm excited for
For a
that.
mock draft.
But all right, we'll see. We'll catch you all next week, guys. Later.